The birthday boy has made it to jolly old England, and we are in on a Thursday morning. Hello, everybody. Welcome into Ben and Woods. We lose one birthday boy, world traveler, but we get another birthday boy, world traveler in studio. I'll get to that in just a moment. My name is Ben Higgins. I'm usually not the first voice. I'm not the one who introduces everybody. That job belongs to Stephen Woods, who is celebrating his 50th birthday in Manchester, England, going to see his beloved band Oasis on Saturday night. He missed yesterday's show. We celebrated Woodsy for his birthday. He'll be back on Tuesday. But we had a really fun show. Paulie, you did a good job yesterday in celebrating Woods, our executive producer.
Likewise.
Paulie Reindl right there.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. And joining us in Woods' chair today is another, as I said, world traveler who's been all over the globe just in the last, 2 weeks. My friend, Matt Ginella, who you might have seen in the past on the Golf Channel or with the Fire Pit Collective and now Fire Pit Productions, and is here a giant Padres fan, a tier one who listens to the show, is going to be sitting in all 4 hours this morning. Matty, thank you for coming in.
Ben, great to be here. Great to be with you, Paul. Thank you for having me. Like I said in Twitter last night, bit of a dream come true. My fantasy was always to be the play-by-play announcer for the San Diego Padres growing up as a kid. This is probably as close as I'm going to get, I would think. Sitting in Woodsy's chair, what an honor this is.
I got to say, you and I talked on the phone yesterday in preparation for today's show, and while it was nice to hear like how excited you were to join us this morning, I thought, you're really blowing this out of proportion. You're like, it is like a life's honor to be with you guys. So like, it's really not. It's really, it shouldn't be. Like, that's actually just kind of sad for you. You're like, I can't believe I'm going to, I think you walked in, I think you took a picture. You're like, this is Stephen Woods' chair. And I'm like, dude, he farts in that chair every morning. Like, it's gross.
It's kind of why it's cool though.
Like, don't touch any of the pens in here, 'cause he just sits and chews on them. Like, it's not as glorious as it may sound.
We're just three guys in the morning talking Padres baseball. But I found out just this morning that Matty's birthday was yesterday. So happy birthday belated to you, Matty Ginella.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it.
And we did get word. Yes, Stephen Woods landed in London, England a few hours ago and just boarded his connecting flight to Manchester. So, and he was sending us pictures throughout his flight. Now, Matty, you've done a lot of traveling as the travel editor for the Golf Channel around the world playing golf. And I talked about yesterday how I'm not envious of a lot of people, but Matty is one of the people that I am somewhat envious of his job and what he's done over the years. But yesterday, Woods treated himself. First class ticket on British Airways.
Big.
And he gets on the plane and sends us a video of his pod that he gets to sit in.
Yeah.
Him walking down the ramp to the plane, he took a video. Biggest airplane I've ever seen. This plane was massive.
I don't think it was the double decker, but it's as big as you get in San Diego.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the
For San
largest
Diego,
plane you'll see at San Diego's
you
airport.
do not see those planes too often.
Was it San Diego to London direct?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a big bird.
Yeah, man. And then the pod that he is in first class looked unbelievable. It looked like a little tiny studio apartment, and he looked so comfortable. He had his TV screen right in front of him. Every picture that he sent us had the feet up,
completely laying out, stretched out as far as you can get on an airplane for a 9-10 hour flight, whatever it is, straight from San Diego to London. And then we saw the menu and the gourmet meal that he was presented with for his flight, and
his amuse-bouche.
Yes, his cocktail, his Highland Sling that he enjoyed on the plane, and then they set up an entire bed for him. They tucked him in, he was being put to bed by his parents.
He said, before they even took off, you sit down, you're starting to get situated, and they're like, oh, would you like a water or anything? The first question they asked was, would you like a pair of pajamas? And he's like, and he turned him down, didn't he?
What?
Yeah, he said he did. He should have said yes, but he's
like,
no,
I'm not very comfortable. And we're like, well, you should have been in pajamas. They offered you them.
Always yes. If you're on a big bird and you can lay down, and I think he had mentioned possible Xanax or something, but you've got to sleep on that first leg and you're going that direction. You've got to book as many hours as you can, and then you got to fight through on the other end to beat the jet lag. You have to fight through and stay up no matter what. If you take a nap, you're dead. So
He's not experienced enough to know any of these things, and he'll struggle a little bit, I think, over the next couple of days. But pure adrenaline will likely keep him going. I just worry when he comes back on Tuesday, when it all hits him, the jet lag, the lack
he's gonna
of
be a
sleep,
zombie.
the concerts and everything, and we get him sitting in this chair on Tuesday morning. He's going to be a complete zombie. But you've been traveling. I try to follow all your social media accounts. As far as I can tell, you've been to Ireland, Florida, Washington, and this is just in the last couple of weeks, right, Maddie?
I bet this is my 7th day at home in the last 7 weeks. I've been Ireland for 3 weeks, Scotland, Old Course. I've been to Florida, Chicago twice, Texas, New York, Hawaii. Going in every different direction. So different time zones. So that's the whole thing. Is when you're traveling, I bank as many hours of sleep as you can. You just grab a few things, and then when you hit the ground, you gotta adjust right to that time zone and fight through, and don't even think about what it is of where you are, and you got to go. That was kind of the.
Now, what's the split on all that travel? Is there a split on golf, work related stuff for you, and maybe press or work related stuff for your better half?
This was all work related. One of the trips to New York had to do with my wife. So that was 2 or 3 days. But for the rest, even when I'm traveling and playing golf, that is work. But I went to the Old Course, didn't even take the clubs out. I went to Stream Song in Florida, didn't even take the clubs out. So I'm not playing as much as people think I do. And a lot of times I'm documenting the actual build of the golf courses. In some cases, they're still sand or dirt. They're in the process of being built. So I went to Hawaii 3 days, stayed at Turtle Bay, and never put shorts on, never even got in the water. So I at the last minute, I just sort of
I dream of this glamorous life.
No.
You realize the reality when you're working is you don't get to enjoy all the fun things. You're at vacation destinations, but you're not on vacation. So you can't really indulge in everything you're kind of imagining in your mind's eye.
Yeah. And the 3 weeks in Ireland, I actually had my wife, my daughter, and my son. We were doing family golf travel. We were doing kind of a family travel show in conjunction with Tourism Ireland. And that was a lot of fun for me, given the fact I used to do it by myself as a single guy, and now to be able to do it with my family, that was kind of an ultimate dream come true. I overcooked the itinerary. They looked at me like I had 5 heads. Like, are we really going to keep moving at this pace? And I was like, yeah, probably need to adjust for the family travel.
Now, you mentioned your better half, Katie Ginella, and we talked about it a little bit on the show yesterday. But if you're unaware out there, Maddie's wife, Katie, is one of the stars of Bravo's Real Housewives of Orange County, which is beginning her 2nd season. Now, the show's been on for 19 years, 19 seasons now. So
the OG, Orange County is the original.
The OC is the OG of that program.
Yeah.
And
Maddie, get a little bit closer to that mic there. There you go.
So she has joined the cast for these last 2 seasons, which means, of course, you have also joined the cast, at least tangentially, for the Real Housewives of Orange County. And we'll talk about this a little bit later, because I have a lot of questions just about what that is like and what the reality is of living on reality television. But in case anyone's wondering, Maddie has been experiencing that for the last year plus now.
Yeah, I mean, my wife is experiencing it, and I have to watch my poor wife experience it, and that hurts the heart and the soul, because she actually has a heart and a soul. And people have asked, why'd you do that? And we say, well, it seemed like a good idea. We kind of knew what we were getting ourselves into, except for we had no idea what we're getting ourselves into. It has, at this point. I am in full support of my wife. I haven't watched an actual episode since season 1, episode 4. I can't actually.
That's amazing.
I can't do it.
I mean, it's a hugely popular national television show that you could anytime, and you just say, you know what, I can't watch it.
No, I can't. I've watched my wife live it, and in real time, and the idea of having to relive it and watching her do that, it is gutting. It's devastating, because again, it's, a lot of tears. It's you'd like to think it would be more fun. You'd like to think that there would be more fun involved. You'd like to think that these castmates or these other women would take a little more time to try to get to know her or have fun, because she's fun. She's cool. I love I'm biased, but I love my wife. She's fun. We have a great time. She's funny. We laugh out loud all the time. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, but they don't like her.
It's fascinating to me, and we'll explore it a little bit this morning. But actually, the real reason that I have Maddie in, and I think he's a great fit for filling in for Woods today, is that Maddie is a diehard Padres fan. But you didn't grow up here in San Diego, so explain how you became, growing up in the Bay Area, a Padres fan from a very young age. Not in your family; they weren't Padres fans either.
No, I mean, I grew up NorCal. We were a big 49er family. We've got roots into the ownership. Actually, my grandfather was one of the bit owners way back when, and that was our 49ers were, I think, we went to games. That was our deal. My dad didn't go to a lot of Giants games, and we lived an hour north of San Francisco in Santa Rosa, and Candlestick Park wasn't a great place to go see a baseball game, especially back then. So I'm dealing with now with my 8-year-old, my son Bandon, where, he likes the Yankees. He likes Aaron Judge. He likes the Braves because my wife is from Atlanta. He'll glom on to players and different team. Now I cut the line at the Dodgers. I said, you cannot, he likes Ohtani. I'm like, okay, but we cannot be a Dodger. Like, it's just not going to happen. As a kid, I started liking the Padres because Nettles and Gossage were guys that I liked, and they came to the Padres, and then obviously Tony Gwynn, and then 84 happened. In 1982, I got on the field for opening day, Padres Giants. My buddy Dan Culbertson, who went on to be a bat boy for the Giants, his dad was a San Francisco police officer. We got on the field in one of those makeshift boxes down there. And I was wearing a Padre hat, and Terry Kennedy walked over and put a ball in my glove on his way back into the dugout. And there was little things that solidified my fandom. And then obviously in 84, I remember the comeback and, that whole team. And then I was diehard at that point. And I went to every, went on to go to Sports Illustrated. 1998, I was at every World Series game, 0 for 4, watched Tony Gwynn hit that home run in Yankee Stadium. I mean, I live and die the Padres, and on the East Coast there for a while during a stretch of some bad teams and the East Coast time zone. I really felt, I was falling out of it, right? I wasn't able to keep track. I wasn't, they weren't worth a follow at that time. It was kind of fading. I come back to the West Coast, Seidler, the momentum, the players, my son falling back in love with baseball. Now I'm back in, full force.
A couple of our tier ones also remember that just a couple of years ago, you did a podcast series on Tony Gwynn, which was pretty amazing. I mean, talk about, what went into that. You did a lot of interviews and set it up. It's a really good listen if anyone hasn't been able to catch it yet.
Well, yeah, and that all came from my buddy lives locally, played baseball at St. Mary's College. Tim Spooner is a good friend of mine, goes on my annual buddies trip, and he grew up playing with Tony Gwynn Jr. And I didn't even know that. So I moved West Coast, and I've always had this idea. I wanted to do a tribute podcast series on Tony Gwynn, and I just was thinking about it. And he said, well, I know Tony Gwynn Jr., and he told this story about how Tony Sr. used to come to the games and sit outside in the outfield, and Tim Spooner hit a home run, and Tony got it, brought it in, and said, great hit, kid, and signed the ball for him. I was like, come on, are you kidding? Which led to me getting Tony Gwynn Jr., which led to me, I got Maddox, I got Smoltz, I got Sandberg, I got Ken Griffey Jr., I got Trevor Hoffman, I got Tom Verducci, I got all these different people talking about the life and legacy of Tony through a narrative thread of Tony Gwynn Jr., having him be his father and mentor in life. It was just, And
I love that story from Tim about Tony as a parent, Tony Sr. watching Tony Jr. play.
Yeah.
Because it was so relatable as a parent, not really being able to sit there right behind in the stands, and Tony would kind of hide off in the distance and watch, Tony Jr. play, but not right up close. But he was always there, just kind of keeping an eye on what was going, at least when he could, obviously with his baseball schedule and everything that was going on, but had those same anxieties that we all do as a parent watching his kid grow up, become a really good baseball player and eventually make it to the major leagues himself. And now, of course, sitting in that chair where you sit, I mean, when he's not traveling 92% of the time with the team, but occasionally sitting in that chair where you sit as our afternoon host here on 97.3 The Fan.
Which is amazing. And, talking about Tony Gwynn, that one of my biggest regrets in my life is I didn't get the chance to meet Tony Gwynn, and I haven't met Joe Montana, right? Those are the two. But now, and I just think about, that what a gift he was, Tony Gwynn, to this city, to this franchise, to the game of baseball. You from a Padres fan, you wish he would have had more exposure and notoriety for his greatness as a player. But being in a small market at that time, I just don't, and without social media, I don't think people appreciate him enough, not only for what he did on the field, but for what he did off the field and for this community in general. Sure. And turning down the Indians offer, and Tony Gwynn Jr. being like, "What are you doing, Dad? How you not take it?" But then stayed with this franchise. It's just, he's a gift. He's a gem.
One thing that has been true is, I've been a sportscaster now in San Diego for more than 25 years. And growing up here, I've had the chance to meet some of my idols and interview them, and even become, somewhat acquainted and friends with some of them. And as they always say, never meet your idols, because, well, honestly, they're just real people. They have, strengths and weaknesses. They have flaws, and, you kind of get a little disillusioned when you get to know these people up close. And that, for the most part, has been true. Except for one, because I got to meet and interview Tony Gwynn Jr. and any disillusionment at all. He remained the icon that he was through my childhood eyes when I finally actually got to meet him. And he was truly as genuinely spectacular and friendly and engaging and talented and amazing as I always kind of hoped he would be. And you really people never live up to your expectations, especially when you form them as a child, watching them play baseball and going to games with your dad, and like, that's Tony Gwynn. He's an icon, in your head, but they're real people. They've got obviously families and lives, and they can't be, but he was so super spectacular, and was just such a treat to get to interview him a few times and hear that laugh, like just a private laugh for you. I mean, everyone's heard Tony laugh a million times, but when you say something and he laughs and he's just laughing at you, and that's it, it's just kind of, you're passing a conversation. It's an unbelievable feeling to get a Tony Gwynn laugh just for yourself.
I think that's part of one of the podcasts opens up with Vin Scully describing Tony Gwynn's infectious laugh. I think that's one of the episodes. And to have Vin Scully, who I despise the Dodgers, but you have nothing but respect. Being in this medium of storytelling, broadcasting, Vin Scully is top of the top, and we're also blessed with guys like Jesse Agler and Orsillo, and what a great team we have here that brings us to Padres game. But listening to Vin Scully describe Tony Gwynn that's magic. That's
our friend David J in our chat says, yeah, Tony Sr. was absolutely the exception to the rule. My encounters with him as an adult were somehow even better than my childhood imagining. And you played that laugh, of course, when Tony passed away and Uncle Teddy gave his eulogy at Petco Park. He brought, the recording on the phone that he had of just Tony laughing and just keeping it and sharing that with all of San Diego. I'll never forget that amazing moment. So.
Gone way too soon, right?
Absolutely.
Can't believe it.
All right, we're going to check traffic. When we come back, don't go anywhere. We'll set the menu for the program today, what we've got in store for you here on a Throwback Thursday with Ben and Woods. Matty Ginella sitting in for Woodsy, who is now on his way to Manchester, England, on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Islands Restaurants. Pretty quiet start to our Thursday morning. Just one problem here, westbound 8 before Severn. Reports of a crash over to the right shoulder. Islands Restaurants, summer refreshment, paradise ambience, and the best burgers in town, like the Big Wave with cheese and fresh cut fries, $10 now for a limited time only. Visit one of our Islands Restaurants throughout Southern California today. Dine in only. I'm Kelly Danik with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station. 97.3 The Fan.
All right, so here's what we got for you on the program today. Obviously, the Padres will get on a plane today, or at least meet in Washington, D.C., as they scattered about for the All-Star break to begin the second half of the season tomorrow. But, of course, it's not really the second half. We're well into the second half of the season. We're down to the last, 66 games, Paulie, I think, left in the season.
That's the right math.
Padres holding on to the third wild card spot in the National League. It looks like it's going to be a battle. But before even that, we are exactly 2 weeks away from baseball's trade deadline. It gets serious now. The draft is over. The All-Star break is over. What is A.J. Preller going to do about the glaring holes at the bottom of his lineup? Is he going to address any pitching issues, or will he stand pat thinking Yu Darvish and potentially Michael King coming back will be enough? We will talk about the Padres getting started in the second half coming up here at the bottom of the hour. In our second hour, it was a tough night last night for SDFC. If you didn't watch it, they lost 1-0 to Toronto FC, and it was a tough match, and it was exactly the kind of match they didn't want to happen after letting Milan Olaski go.
Right.
They're scoring all these goals every single game, and then, of course, they let one of their leading scorers go because they can't come to a contract agreement, and they immediately get shut out. Bad timing for SDFC, but we'll talk some soccer. And then, Maddie's here, obviously covered golf for years. We are underway, the final major of the year. They've teed off at the Open Championship at Royal Portrush. I assume you've played Royal Portrush before?
I have,
Of course you have,
I was just over there, yeah.
Of course he has. And we have a leaderboard. We can talk a little golf. And Scotty Scheffler's 1 under. I saw Xander Schauffele's back to even. Now, Phil Mickelson had a good day this morning. He's 1 under and tied for 11th place at age, 54? 55 now, so we can get a little golf talk in with Maddie in, and then we'll get all our regular features on a Thursday, including Don't Do This and a little Real or Fake for a chance to qualify for our grand prize trip to Las Vegas coming up in our 8 o'clock hour as well. And we've got another pair of Rick Springfield tickets for his 80s show coming to Front Wave Arena to give out in the second half of the program. We'll go until 10 o'clock, and then Paulie and I will head over to the sound space for a roundtable Thursday as well.
More Padres talk.
No Woodsy, but we'll be joined by some of our other colleagues and talk more Padres.
Matt, you want to do 5 hours of radio today instead of 4?
You don't have to twist my arm to talk Padres.
Of course not. Well, you get free pizza out of the deal. At least roundtable will be here at the end of the show. So you have something to look forward to after your 4 hours. You will be hungry. I promise you, after talking for 4 hours straight. We'll get started, though, with some Padres talk coming up after a check of traffic. It is Thursday morning. Glad to have you with us, Tier 1s on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. GEGE 000-466. For a full list of games and rules, play at 7 Mile Casino. Visit 7milecasino.com.
6:24, though, on a Thursday morning. If you wanted to, you could head down to 7 Mile Casino. It's one of San Diego's 24/7 spots. It's my favorite card room. I didn't know about 7 Mile Casino until a few years ago when Woodsy and I were introduced. I had passed it on the freeway a few times, looked over there, thought, it can't be great, right? I'd know about it if it was. And then I walked in and I go, this place is spectacular. It's comfortable. It's upscale. The dealers are friendly. The chairs are comfy. There's TVs all over the place. There's windows looking out onto San Diego Bay. I'm going, I think they've kind of overdid it. I mean, it's just a card room, but no, it's San Diego's best and closest place to play California-style blackjack, Texas Hold'em poker, Pai Gow, and Baccarat. And if you're looking for something to eat, Sammy's Wood-Fired Pizzas inside 7 Mile is open 24/7. It's the only one that is. You got the 24/7 players menu. If you're hungry at any time of the day, hook you up with a great meal while you're playing cards or just enjoy their patio out there, again, looking out over Coronado, Silver Strand. Really nice place. I have had a ton of fun at 7 Mile over the years. Really want you to make it your card place as well. So check it out either today or head over this weekend for their award-winning brunch Saturdays and Sundays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 7 Mile Casino, just 7 minutes from downtown.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the players' place.
For you for the first 3 games of the second half of the Padres season, at least on the Padres side of the equation. Welcome back. It's Ben and Woods with Matt Ginella sitting in for Woodsy as he makes his way to England for his Oasis concert and his 50th birthday on Saturday. Yes, Mike Schilt announced yesterday or made it known that the Padres will begin the first half of the season with Dylan Cease on the mound tomorrow against the Washington Nationals. And then it'll be Yu Darvish on Saturday. And Nick Pivetta, who, of course, has been the team's best starter all season, will pitch on Sunday. And I would imagine that Nick Pivetta, who pitched on Sunday, they wanted to make sure he got at least a little bit of a break. You know, he'll have 1 week essentially between starts, but not really an all-star break, just like an extra day or two to, you know, get his arm ready for the second half. But honestly, guys, they can't afford to not have Nick Pivetta take the mound as many times as possible, since he's been by far the most consistent starter they've had this season.
I think it was, to me, when I saw the reports of who was going this weekend, it's clearly they're trying to give the younger guys, the guys with less experience, the Bergerts, the Koleks, the Vasquezes, as much of a break as they possibly can.
Yeah, Vasquez getting a nice
like
chunk
10, 11,
yeah,
12
he'll
days
get like a
almost.
10, 11-day rest, which does, it makes sense as a veteran arm that those guys probably need more of, you know, a reset here before the second half of the season. But with Dylan Cease going on Friday, tomorrow, to me, there's no more pivotal player for the second half of the season. I mean, you can make an argument, get Tatis going. He's going to have the biggest impact on the team if he's hot, Matty, clearly. But Dylan Cease was maybe the most disappointing Padre who was healthy in the first half of the year. 3-9 record just wasn't what we expect from Dylan Cease. But it wasn't so far off that you can't dream on Dylan Cease also getting locked in for a couple of months and being the anchor of the rotation that could make a giant difference in a stretch run and a playoff drive.
Been disappointing to say the least. Obviously, everybody's feeling it, and there was talk of trading him, and the idea that if he had been traded and had that record, you'd be like, oh, we traded him at the right time. He's got to make a case for himself now as to why he wasn't traded. Like, he needs to be the Dylan Cease that everybody hopes he was going to be. But I also think we need Jackson Merrill to snap out. We go as Toddy goes or Manny goes, but I do think that Jackson Merrill going into that slump at that time, this to me has been one of the biggest disappointments in, it's a sophomore season. I get it. But we need it when he's having fun, when he's playing well, when he's, that just spreads. I think that's the momentum they rode last year.
And of course, he hits the 2 home runs on Saturday, and then we go right into a 5-day break.
Right when he breaks out of it.
Nobody on the planet wanted to play more than Jackson Merrill, I'm guessing, this week.
Yeah, that's if he gets going, that to me is part of the engine.
Padres also did make a roster move yesterday, reactivating Gavin Sheets off the paternity list, which means Luis Campusano, once again, the revolving door back to El Paso. And you'd think one of these times Luis Campusano would visit the Padres that, he'd get a hit. No, now 0 for 27 this season for Luis Campusano. And it's hard to picture a path forward that involves Luis Campusano becoming a regular position player or even a regular DH now for the San Diego Padres. He's going to need a change of scenery at some point. The problem here, Matty, is that there's nothing that the Padres are going to be able to really get for Luis Campusano. There'll be other teams that are interested in, a potential project, a catcher who can, has hit in the big leagues before, and they'll go, yeah, I mean, whatever the Padres were doing wrong, we will try to fix this and, get Luis Campusano going. We could have an absolute steal on our hands, but that's the worst case scenario for the Padres. Imagine if they sent Luis Campusano to another team for a single-A prospect of little note, because that's all you're going to get for him. And then all of a sudden, Luis Campusano figures it out in another organization and becomes an everyday catcher who's hitting, 280 with, 20 home runs. And you go, well, that looks terrible for the San Diego Padres if he goes somewhere else and succeeds as well. He's kind of putting the Padres in a bad situation here.
I don't have any. I say let him go, trade him. How many times do you give a guy a chance to come up and make an impact? It's not working. So.
I know there's a part of the fan base, at least, that's saying, hey, you're not giving him a real chance, though.
Okay.
You're letting him come up and get a spot start here, a pinch hit there. It's hard to get going at all with that.
I agree with that take, Paul.
And so do I.
But at the same time, can you throw him out there to say catch 5 times in a week? And if he continues to go, hit 0 or something close to 0, and he doesn't have the trust of the coaching staff to catch, and you're in a pennant race, you can't just let him go out there and sink or swim at this point in the season. I mean, maybe you could have done it earlier in the year. You could have done it in May and really given him that opportunity, but that ship has sailed. You can't just let Luis Campusano in the middle of you're half game up on a playoff spot. And if it doesn't work out and you're committing yourself, hey, no matter what, we are giving him 2 weeks where he's going to start at least, 2 out of every 3 games behind the plate, maybe DH the other day. We're going to give him a chance to get going. And then what happens in those 2 weeks when you go, 4-8 and you fall 3 games out of a playoff spot because you're getting, again, no production out of the bottom of the order?
But there's got to be a reason why he hasn't had what is the reason why he hasn't had this chance that he so-called needs to have or deserves to have? What is stopping that from happening? That's my question.
I truly believe for whatever reason, and I don't know what the reason is, and they won't. Obviously, Mike Schilt will never say anything bad about his own players, but they don't trust Luis Campusano to manage the pitching staff, which, Mike Schilt has said very clearly, the most important role a catcher plays is fostering a pitching staff.
He's a catcher. That's part of the deal.
It is a part of the deal, and they just don't believe that he's the right person for it. They're throwing out Elias Diaz and Martin Maldonado, who, quite frankly, are not better offensively than 0-0-0 that Luis Campusano. I mean, 0-0-0 is not much worse than what they're getting right now from their actual catchers, which is maybe 2 hits a week, if I'm being honest. I mean, does that sound about right? Like 2 hits a week from catchers.
Yeah.
It's almost
at least
an
what it feels
automatic out. Any time they get a hit, it's almost like you feel like like celebrating, stopping everything and jumping up and down. It's bad.
So it must say something, given that they're getting so little out of the catchers they have right now, and they still won't give Luis Campusano a chance. It's never going to happen.
Like I said,
at least for this year, it feels like that ship has sailed.
Yeah.
Like maybe if you wanted April or May, give them that 2-week stretch of everyday reps. I don't know that you can experiment a whole lot in these final 66 games of the season.
The funny thing is that the reports you hear from El Paso, Luis Campusano is putting in the work, has developed good relationships with the pitchers down there, and of course he hits. He hits, unbelievably. He's got one of the best OPSs in all of AAA. He's just mashing the ball down in El Paso in the Pacific Coast League, but then comes up and faces big league pitchers and nothing. I mean, it kind of defies explanation. You know it's a good hitters league. The pitchers are going to be tougher in the big leagues. You expect a guy not to perform as well, but to go from 1,100 OPS to 0-0-0 doesn't make any sense at all. It really doesn't.
Well, it's the big leagues. It's the show. And then there's, some of it is about what's between the ears too. And I think that's, that plays a role in all of sports, and some people can handle it and some can't. And apparently he's having issues handling it.
Yeah. And
there's like reports. We've heard whisperings that Campy is like the biggest enigma in the Padres organization, like split. People are saying it's time to move on. There's no future here. And others saying, no, we got something here. We gotta figure it out. We got to let him figure it out. I don't know what's going to happen here, but I'm starting to find myself in the camp of like, let's maybe move on. If you can trade him. Well, I mean, if he's not going to produce for the Padres, if you were able to get any sort of replacement, call it a left fielder for him in a trade, wouldn't that be worth exploring and potentially give you more production than what you're getting from Campy right now?
Yeah, anything other than theirs. And people keep saying, "Oh, the Padres need a bat. We need a left fielder." I think they need 2 bats, and I think the real pressure right now, beyond any specific player or part of the management, is on John Seidler at this point. I think the biggest question mark for the organization is, who is John Seidler? We know AJ. We know what he's capable of. Is he going to get the gas pedal? Is he going to get the green light? Is he going to be able to do what he's going to do? That is the biggest question to me. That's what in my mind as a Padres fan, all eyes are on John Seidler.
All right, well, let's jump into that because it's one of the topics that I'm going to broach on the roundtable later this morning, and that is the direction the Padres are going to take in these next 2 weeks. Not specific players because, well, I mean, that's just a guessing game at this point. You hear the rumors. Jarren Duran is a Padres target. Sean Murphy is a Padres target. But you don't know for sure whether any of those guys are even available, what the price tag is going to be, if the other GMs in Atlanta or in Boston even like the Padres prospects that they'd be picking up. You can say, we'll give you Ethan Salas. There's no guarantee Boston even wants Ethan Salas. Their projections may be, yeah, we just don't think he's our guy. So you don't know if you line up on anyone in particular, but there are, in my mind, 4 different ways these next 2 weeks are going to go. And we'll talk about them coming up right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
This game day traffic report is brought to you by Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water. Not too bad out here. Crash has cleared on westbound 8 before Severn. Now watch out for a stalled SUV. South 805 before H Street. That's over to the right shoulder. What makes Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water different? They always bottle their Alpine Spring Water less than 1.5 miles from the spring source. And all of their bottles are made with 50% recycled plastic from their own recycling plants. Crystal Geyser, bottled at the spring source. I'm Kelly Danek with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So I've kind of, in my mind at least, come up with 4 different paths the Padres can take over the next 2 weeks before the trade deadline. First path would be, I think, what most fans are usually hoping for. That's the all-in strategy. We want to acquire the best possible talent, and we are willing to part with whatever it takes to acquire those players for a playoff push. And that means certainly Ethan Salas, maybe Leo DeVries on the table. You will go big, and you will try to acquire as much as you can for whatever the cost is to make a push toward the playoffs and potentially a pennant. That's strategy 1. Strategy 2, acquire, but in a smaller way. Address the bottom of your order, getting no production. You can pick up a couple of players who are league average, and really that will improve the bottom of your order and maybe be enough offensively to lift a team that has already gotten some of the best pitching in baseball. And you feel like that's enough to get you to the playoffs, and then, take your chances once you get to the postseason without mortgaging, any of your top prospects for the future. So acquiring in a smaller way, maybe more on the margins. Option number 3. There could be a mixed approach. As Maddie mentioned, there's been rumors that the Padres have also explored trading away some of the big league talent they have right now, especially guys who are going to be free agents at the end of the season. Dylan Cease, Luis Ariz fits that mold. Robert Suarez is someone who's probably going to opt out of his contract, would be a very attractive option for a playoff contender out there, but not because you're selling, because you're looking to find a better match and find different players that come in. And you may actually, with the cost of the player coming in, offset that with the cost that you're going outwards and not increase payroll that way, but still feel like you're improving your team for a stretch run. And then finally, and I know this is probably the last option that Padres fans want to hear, but really just kind of stand pat and do nothing, at the trade deadline, and just hope that the return of Yu Darvish,
Don't even put that in the
and
universe.
Michael King and, guys that you already have on your team getting hotter in the second half will be enough to keep you in that last playoff spot and give you a chance in October.
I don't want that even out there in the ether,
That's my
because
fear.
it is so blatantly obvious that this team needs upgrades and needs help and cannot continue as currently constructed and go on a run.
Like I said,
I don't personally, I don't see it.
This is the big question mark to me. This is where the rubber is meeting the road, hitting the road right now, where if you're John Seidler and if you're looking at this team 8 games above 500, 5.5 games behind the Dodgers, and if you're saying to yourself, I'm about to get essentially trade for 2 starting pitchers, with Darvish and King in theory come start number 3, he'd be, so you're getting 2 starters back. You've had 4 or 5 guys who are underperforming in the first half of the season. You're still 8 games above 500. If Jackson can break out of it, if Tatis can, start being Tatis, and if Ariz can start being Ariz, and Sheets continues to be who he is with Machado being what, my biggest fear is option 4. And I'm just really hoping that's not what's going to transpire.
The finances can't be ignored. We don't care as fans, but there's not a single ownership group or front office that won't at least look at where they are financially. And the Padres are right on the cusp of the second luxury tax threshold. Any meaningful acquisitions going to put them into another penalty phase of the luxury tax this year, which will obviously, come with consequences in the future, whether it's draft picks, whether it's financial penalties for going over for a second year and the extra money that you're paying for players just this year. It's not something that they are going to ignore. They may decide it's worth it, to go over, and because there's a player that they want or players that they want that they think will help them, I don't think it's out of the question that the Padres can go over that second luxury tax threshold. But there's not a front office in baseball that's just going like, what's a luxury tax? Where's the level? I don't know. Just keep spending, and we'll deal with the tab at the end of the year. They're all thinking about it, as is John Seidler, as is AJ Preller, and it's okay for them to be thinking about it. You want them to at least, have the long term and the short term both in their minds, but it's not something we can ignore as fans as being a reality of baseball.
Well, nor what also cannot be ignored is the fact that the fans are coming out every game, every home game. They are supporting this team. It's all set up. Peter's legacy and what he put into this team, as he was leaving this life. I mean, to me, doing nothing just doesn't seem like an option when you have the years that have been put into where they are right now, and the stadium and the fans, the fan base. It just feels like doing nothing is not an option.
You brought up a word that always scares me as a baseball fan. You're allowed to use it. If you have to use it once or twice, it's fine. Every baseball team does. But you used it 6 or 7 times, and that always worries me. That word, it's 2 letters. If. When you have a lot of ifs going into the second half of the season, it's hard to have a lot of confidence. If Fernando Tatis Jr. plays like we know he's capable, if Luis Arraez, hits like the batting champion that we know he's been the last 3 years, if Michael King comes back healthy and looks like the ace of the staff, if Yu Darvish, shows what he's shown the first couple of starts, that stuff is there and he can make his regular contributions the rest of the season. If the bullpen doesn't implode because they've been used so much in the first half of the season, you get 1 or 2 ifs, and every team, even the Dodgers, have a couple of ifs. But once you get to the level of 6 or 7 ifs, then you're just a starry-eyed dreamer. And
welcome to being a Padre fan.
Well, exactly. But you also have to acknowledge the reality that if you're resting your entire season's hopes on so many ifs, not all of them are going to come through. You'll get a couple of those will come through. Gavin Sheets may continue to be the surprise of the season. Fernando Tatis may look like an MVP in the second half of the year. But there's also the other side of the if coin. If a couple of players get injured, if you lose 2 starting pitchers on August 2nd after the trade deadline, and you've got nothing coming in the pipeline that could replace them after the trade deadline. There's also the bad ifs that we never like to think about as fans, but are very much a reality for teams in baseball in August and September. I know I'm being depressing right now.
I know you're real. Boy, keep going, man. This is tough. This is tough on my soul.
I think ultimately, though, what encourages me ultimately is that.
Please get to that part.
Is that the San Diego Padres, and you said it, they're 8 games above 500, and they didn't do anything crazy good. I mean, the bullpen was really good, but
the start of the season was really good.
Yeah, for a couple of weeks, but no one has massively outperformed what we thought they were capable of. In fact, Sheets is the one, but I don't see him just falling off a map. Sheets is
profile.
I think he's going to hit 270 and going to keep hitting some home runs for you. There's so much room for other guys to get better in the second half. There's room for Tatis to be better. There's room for Arraez to be better. There's room for Dylan Cease to be much better. There's not a lot of room for those guys to get a ton worse. So in that sense, I think you can be somewhat hopeful that at least the ifs are pointed in your direction rather than the other way.
Thank you for bringing that back to some sense of positive.
All right, we'll come back. Hour number 2. We will talk about SDFC's disappointing night. Don't Do This coming up as well on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Felt bad for Mikey Varas and Tyler Heaps, the general manager at SDFC yesterday. So just the last thing, Paulie, they wanted to happen after what transpired this week. Welcome back. It is Ben and Woods, hour number 2 on a Thursday. We got my buddy Matt Ginella sitting in here for Woodsy as he's off in England for his 50th birthday. Do you watch soccer at all?
I do. Not a lot of MLS. I mean, my little guy is way into soccer, so we've been starting to watch.
That's good. We're just trying to get into it with the team this year, and we're definitely early in the learning curve. Our buddy Darren Smith, by the way, condolences to Darren, who lost his dad yesterday, passed away. He still did the game. I turned it on, and, he said, hey, Dad would want me to be here. So he was calling the SDFC game last night. And in the wake of what happened this week, and I am still a novice when it comes to, MLS, salary cap, and loans and transfers in the soccer world. But no one wants to lose one of their leading scorers in the middle of the season because they can't figure out a way to extend the loan for Milan Olaski. 10 goals in 10 games was an absolute injection of life and offense for SDFC when he arrived. But he goes back to Denmark early this week. So they've got this game last night against Toronto FC at Snapdragon Stadium. And I'm sure that, at least quietly, they're crossing their fingers in the front office at SDFC. Let's just have another couple guys step up. We win 3-1, and everyone's like, all right, we're fine without Milan Olaski. Of course, that doesn't happen. Last night at Snapdragon Stadium, Toronto FC, by the way, it wasn't a full lineup for SDFC last night. With two games this week, 3 games in 8 days, they left Chucky Lozano on the bench, had 2 or 3 of their regulars, Godoy, Ingvartsen, that were injured that didn't play. So you got kind of a B squad lineup. They give up a penalty kick in the 20th minute, fall behind 1-0. And then the rest of the game, they're looking for a way to kind of get a ball somewhere into the net, and it just doesn't happen. Now, they played like they normally do. I think 70% time of possession, 7 shots versus 3 shots, but no really great scoring chances. And to end up losing 1-0 on the same week that you lose Milan Olaski, gonna be a tough look for San Diego FC.
Yeah, I followed them enough to know they're having this incredible first season, doing way better than everybody thought they were going to do. This is obviously, I love the fact that soccer has come to San Diego, but I heard you talking about this yesterday, and what a gut punch to have this great start and then to lose the guy that's, been the hot. Can you imagine? All of a sudden Tatis goes
just gone.
Away.
It's just back.
Machado
on loan somewhere.
Yeah, I don't even know how that.
Now, they still have their. Anders Dreyer's been the best player. He's an MVP candidate. He was out there. Didn't really make anything happen. Had one really good chance. I think it was like in the 80-something minute, and had a shot. It was like 1-on-4. So you're thinking, all right, it's probably not going to happen. But kicks the ball, and I saw this happen when I was watching, and it hit the hand. It hit like the arm of one of the defenders for Toronto in the penalty box. And I'm going, is that not a handball? I know I'm a soccer novice, but I'm pretty sure if it hits your hand, your arm in front of the goal, and you're not the goalkeeper, that's a penalty shot. And they didn't even go and review it with the VAR or anything. And they showed a couple of replays, and it looked pretty clear that should be a handball penalty. And San Diego at least would have had a chance for a penalty kick to tie the game and, maybe escape with 1 point. I know you were hoping for the full 3 and the win, especially at home against a Toronto team that hasn't been that good this season, but 1 is better than none. Didn't even get the opportunity for the 1, got 0 points for a 1-0 loss. And now they got to turn right around. And on Saturday, they're hosting Vancouver, who's the team that's right behind them in the standings. Second place, they have a game in hand. So if you lose this one, you're pretty much 2 games behind because you're behind them and they've got an extra game to play. If you win, you're up 4 points and you've got a little cushion. No matter what they do, they can't pass you with that extra game. So maybe the biggest home game so far in San Diego FC franchise history coming up on Saturday night at Snapdragon Stadium.
Wow.
Hopefully they'll have the full lineup and, Chucky will play and Anders will play, and they'll get to find some offense again without Milan Olaski. But that's a big one this weekend against the Vancouver Whitecaps.
I consume all of my soccer through Welcome to Wrexham. That's my
There you go.
portal into soccer.
I watch
and
it too.
only watch it as the documentary, as the docuseries. I try not to pay attention to what they're actually doing. It's the same way I do Formula One. I only watch Drive to Survive. I wait for them to deliver me those stories in that packaged material, and then I can, binge it, and that's the way I can.
Have you finished the current season of Welcome to Wrexham yet?
No, I'm sort of midway through. I've just been on the road.
So you
I'm
don't
waiting.
know whether they get promoted to the championship division of the English
I have
soccer.
a sense. I don't know for sure, but I have a sense. I think they break the record, like three straight promotions, right?
Yeah. I mean,
that's the way it was trending.
It happened like a couple months ago.
Talk about spending money on players. This is amazing. Guys that are get you to the one level, then they let those guys go. They bring in new guys.
I mean, I do find the system fascinating in England, where essentially this would be like if we did this in baseball, it would be like a couple of celebrities, not even a single A baseball team. This would be like buying like an independent, unaffiliated, like the Portland Pickles or something. Like an independent minor league team, and investing a bunch of resources and money, and then they win their league and they get promoted to like low single A, and then they win that league and get promoted to high single A. And then they win that league and get promoted to double A. So, essentially now Wrexham is one league below. So they'd be like triple A now in English soccer. They're in championship. If they could be promoted one more time, they'll be in the Premier League with Manchester United and Arsenal and Tottenham Hotspur and all the top teams. And then they'll have gone from like the bottom of the bottom all the way to the top in 4 years.
And it wouldn't even be in a town of Portland. It would be a small town. I mean, the idea that they essentially saved this town of Wrexham in Wales,
Eugene, Oregon, or something,
through an investment into this, and then the infrastructure and the whole, everything to surround it. It's absolutely incredible. It's incredible storytelling, and the dives into the characters, what I really love, and the graphics and how they deliver the story is what compels me to keep watching and become a fan. I relate it to actually what John Ashworth did at Goat Hill Park all the time. Saving Goat Hill is essentially an investment into the community golf course has lifted, the city of Oceanside and brought these eyeballs and good vibes to Oceanside through an investment into Goat Hill Park. This to me is very similar to the story of Wrexham.
But at some point you do run into a reality, just like a baseball team playing in a tiny town that all of a sudden is in the major leagues would run into. Well, we don't have like a 45,000 seat stadium that, what happens, Wrexham has the race course that they play at, and they've tried to upgrade it a bit, but it's still essentially like a minor league little soccer stadium. Well, if they get to where they want to go, what happens when Manchester City comes and plays a visiting game and they're playing in this little rinky-dink place? Are they going to build a giant state-of-the-art full-on stadium for 50,000 people in a little tiny town? No, you can't really do that.
I don't know. Can they? I mean, who's to say they can't?
I mean, maybe they can't.
I mean,
it would look weird. But I guess they have a football stadium in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and they make that work.
I don't know. I can't wait to see where it all goes. And what is the ceiling to this? What is the cap to their potential?
What is also compelling to me about that show? Paulie, do you ever watch Welcome to Wrexham?
I've seen bits and pieces of it. I haven't sat down and watched episode to episode.
So I was never a guy who watched It Was Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I didn't know Rob McElhaney much, and I knew who Ryan Reynolds was, but in terms of following them closely. And what was compelling to me is because I didn't care about their stardom, but I did realize that their stresses of owning a team were real. Mm-hmm. They had to make the decision, okay, we can invest another $2 million of our money into this with no guarantee we're going to get anything out of it. This year they had to build an academy. Hey, if we want to get up to the next level, we've got to invest now in a youth academy, like all these other teams. And they go, that's just a ton of money right out the door. We're not going to make any money on that. That's for the future investment. And they're going, how much do we have to pay for this? That's another $2 million here. And okay, where am I getting this money? I'm a celebrity, but I'm not made of cash. I just don't have unlimited resources for this.
Cough it up.
And they've done obviously they've turned a little tiny brand into a worldwide phenomenon with merchandising and, the tour. I mean, they were here in San Diego last summer and played games here. I'm sure they make tons of money for that. So, they're reinvesting some of that money into the club, but the actual like stress, I know I couldn't be cut out for it. Like, I think about that with John Seidler. Like, it was not his goal to like own a baseball team. Peter Seidler, he wanted that. That was his dream.
Right.
This has kind of been thrust upon John Seidler. He was not ever I am ready to do this. And now he's got to make these decisions as to how much are we willing to invest. I mean, I want to keep this going, but what happens if the fans all of a sudden decide not to sell out Petco Park, and now I'm on the hook for all this, all of a sudden money like that's going out the door and we're not winning. Like, I can see the hair is turning gray thinking about trying to run a professional sports organization.
I think, I think this is all real positive. I'm going to remain very optimistic. Again, if you told us we would be down the players we are down and have the players in the lineup performing the way they're performing, and to say that the Padres are 8 games above 500, they're selling out at home, and we have guys coming back, and then the glimpse of Merrill hitting 2 home runs right before the All-Star break, like 5.5 behind the Dodgers. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of better than I thought it might be, considering all the situation. I'm generally encouraged, and I generally believe that I don't see John Seidler not doing anything. I think that the fan base and his brother and everything that's been set up deserves some form of a move that makes everybody feel like this is a push towards the opportunity to be the last man standing.
It was a really tough off season. We've had a few tough off seasons here in San Diego, and there was so much uncertainty. And then when it became official that John Seidler would take over, there was still all these question marks. Like, okay, man, like, are you guys going to live like Peter did? Because we know how Peter would have addressed some of these moves. He would have said, screw it, we're going for it. Whether that's good or bad, remains to be seen, but we know how Peter would have probably handled a lot of these things. They went out and spent some money on Nick Pivetta. I think that shocked everybody, but I think he nailed it earlier when you were like, these next 2 weeks, they're big for the franchise. They're big for Padres fans to be locked in. It's a big 2 weeks for AJ Preller, but we know with AJ Preller to expect the unexpected. No idea what he's going to pull off, but he's working on plans A through Z, and then he's got backup plans for A through Z. But it's a big 2 weeks for John Seidler, because you can go out and spend some money and just assure this fan base and let everybody know, hey, nothing's changing. We're still going for it.
It's unfair, though, to ask John to be Peter, because and let's talk about Peter for just a second. Peter made some mistakes, as everyone does owning a baseball team. I mean, we don't know the full story of, committing all that money to Xander Bogaerts and, the decisions that were made, push the throttle all the way full. But one thing that Peter was so incredible at doing, and no one has replaced it since he's been gone, because no one really can. When he would come on, whether it would be with us or, he spoke, a few times a year at spring training, and his unwavering belief and his positivity that he brought as the head of the Padres organization. One day we will have a parade here in San Diego. And he was the one who I always felt better when he opened his mouth. I really did. As a Padres fan,
he was like a warm blanket.
Every time he said something, I felt better as a fan. And, I like AJ Preller a lot. We love Mike Schilt. I don't necessarily have that same feeling every time I just feel, but every time Peter said something, I was comforted knowing, as a Padres fan, whatever happens, win or lose, it's going to be okay. He had that way about him that he just made everything feel like it was going to be okay. It was amazing.
He was a true leader. He was a successful human being. He obviously had a lot, but he was a man of his word. There was no emptiness to what he was saying. There was commitment and conviction behind his communication that that I think that people, so that's where you build that trust and belief. And whether he was right or wrong or good or bad, he was committed to bringing a parade to San Diego. They lost the Chargers. He doubled down. They've invested in this incredible stadium. He was a gift. Like Tony Gwynn, they don't come through San Diego very often, and with the PS on the jersey, and with all that he has done, I just don't think you cannot keep going down this direction to try to get that parade for him.
And by the way, I think we as Padres fans are still better off than almost every other team out there in terms of the leadership and what we have right now. But there has been a subtle change since Peter's been gone. When Peter was here, it was all about the parade. Now it's about putting a team that is, highly competitive every year that has a chance to win a championship, which is honestly what all the other good teams do in baseball. You know that the playoffs are a bit of a crapshoot. You get there and you take your chances. And that's what good winning organizations do. The ones that win the World Series because they get enough bites at the apple in October.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, they have a really good month and they win the championship. But the Padres have kind of gone to that method. We heard Eric Grupner talk about, we are committed to every year putting a team that makes the city proud, that, competes for a playoff spot, competes for a championship. But it's a slightly different message than Peter's, which was, we're just plugging along until we get that parade here in San Diego. And I don't know why it makes a difference to me, because honestly, the good teams do what the Padres are doing now, but it just feels slightly different to me.
I mean, Peter had a little version of a Mark Cuban to him in terms of like he was one of the faces of the organization. I don't see John Seidler being a face of the organization, but I think the big question to me is, will John give? Because in AJ, we do trust at some point that that's the way this goes. And Mike Schilt is obviously a fantastic manager, and I believe in him, and I think we believe in him, and I think the players believe in him. So the question to me is, does AJ have a budget and wiggle room and the gas pedal to do whatever it is that he thinks he needs to do? Because at the end of the day, John Seidler doesn't need to do anything other than, he doesn't need to be the face. He doesn't need to be talking about Brady. He doesn't need to give us that hope. He just needs to give AJ and Schilt the hope.
By the way, and John hasn't done a single thing wrong since taking over the Padres. Not a single thing. Now, is he as upfront and open and out there as Peter? No. Does he have to be? Absolutely not.
We got enough of those.
But yeah, I mean, you should not have any doubts at this point. But we'll find out a lot in the next couple of weeks. We really will.
I was gonna say maybe the first real test, or you can call it, like the Pavetta, like some of the
first test in the offseason.
Sure. He added some pieces that were very much needed.
Yeah.
So this is maybe the second test, but it's a big test. These next 2 weeks will really determine the rest of the season.
We will see. All right, we're going to take a timeout. When we come back, don't do this. Are the LA Dodgers stealing
MFers,
Ben and Woods' bits? Are they listening to this show for content ideas? It's really seems
we
like
already know they stole your voice during the offseason for their Blake Snell promo.
They clearly listened to this program. We'll tell you why.
Maybe in particular.
We have the evidence quite clearly from the All-Star game coming up next here after traffic on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the players' place. Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon.
Boys Don't Do This is brought to you by Trust and Will.
Don't.
Thank you, Paul. Leave your entire estate, house, kids, and life savings up to chance if and when you die.
Do.
Set up a trust or will online at trustandwill.com.
This
is a lot more affordable than you think. Visit trustandwill.com for more info. Maddie, do you have your estate taken care of? Are you good there? You know, okay, he wasn't listening. That's all right.
I wasn't listening.
Go
I was
ahead. Go
reading
back
about Machado and Roberts.
No worries. I will
filling in for Woods perfectly.
I will get us started.
It's in the chair.
It's the chair's fault.
Yeah, it's the chair's fault.
Chairs don't have ears.
All right. Speaking of flights, Woodsy just on his to Manchester, England right now. Former Minnesota Vikings star Everson Griffin was removed from a plane yesterday after allegedly causing a mid-flight disturbance. The 37-year-old was on a Delta Airlines flight from Chicago to Minneapolis when he was, I guess, accused of creating a scene. Now, we don't know the details, but flight records show that just minutes after the plane took off from O'Hare, it returned, and the pilot said they had to ground the jet to have an unruly passenger removed from the plane. What do you do to like?
Well, you said minutes later,
just minutes. Like you've just taken off. So
like
you
they
can't
haven't even started drink service.
I
or
mean,
anything.
yeah, I mean, maybe you had too much to drink at the terminal before you got on the plane. I guess it's so foreign to me. Not certainly
causing the scene.
I'm certainly willing to have a drink or two, but when I do, if I get on a plane, then I'm just falling asleep in my seat. I'm not creating a disturbance, so I don't know
like,
exactly.
Nobody can move for the first 20 minutes of a flight anyway. So like, what really
just
can happen?
Wouldn't put a seatbelt on, like. You wouldn't put a seat back up in the fully locked and upright position.
He said, F your airplane mode. I'm keeping my phone on.
I've seen people freak out on planes.
I always get so embarrassed because it's happened to me a bunch of times. It happened to me on the way to Philly. I get on the plane, and for whatever reason, my seat, and I didn't realize it, is not in the fully upright and locked position. Either I accidentally like elbowed the button or something, or the person before had it slightly back. And you feel like those seats are already so upright. I must be fully upright. So you're ready to go. You're smiling. They're coming and doing their announcements and their safety instructions. And the flight attendant comes and goes, sir, you need to put your seat up. And I'm like, me? But I didn't put my seat back. And then I realized, oh, it is back. And then I feel so embarrassed.
Well, you're so big that seat can't even support you. It just gives way to your head.
So I was so jealous of Woods in his first class flight with all the room he could possibly ever want.
Yeah, but no jammies. He went no jammies.
He didn't go jammies.
Got to get the jammies.
He did go with the sea bass as his entree.
Saw that, the Chilean sea bass.
Yeah.
He had a salad.
He was a little afraid to order fish on the flight because of the movie Airplane.
I can't even believe serving fish on a plane is even legal. The stinking up of the plane, like that just seems like a really bad.
I mean, this was
he had a lot of seafood options.
Yeah, the prawns,
salmon.
Sea bass.
I would not eat.
There was a lobster roll, just anytime snack on the menu.
Oh. No crustaceans on a plane. That's
not sure what
altitude plane food. No,
it looked some sort of mousse. It looked like he had for dessert.
Yeah.
That's a recipe.
Then they had the high end. Now, I mean, Everson Griffin could have been in trouble on first class if that's what he was doing because they have the high end options. I told Woods, get yourself a Johnny Walker Blue. I mean, they're offering it on the flight. Have a nice scotch. Knock one down, as soon as you get on the flight and get into it.
I would do scotch over all of those food options in a heartbeat. I would, and then I'd do the jammies, and I would do a Xanax,
and then you're done.
I'll see you in London.
You fit in that chair better than you think.
Yeah. It's the chair. I'm telling you. I will
take a little Ambien and then open up Amazon on your phone and let's just see what you order because those are fun Woods games to play.
When Woods surprisingly orders something that he didn't realize that he ordered, that's always a good story.
I will disinfect after being out of this chair for sure. There's a good layer of stuff here on these arms.
Over there. All right, Paulie. How are the Dodgers doing this again?
I don't know, man. I guess I won't be so egotistical to just assume that the Dodgers and their front office or their social media team or anybody is listening to our show on a regular basis. But if you, the tier ones, have been with us for any length of time, you know that on Tuesday mornings during the baseball season, we have one Jesse Agler on the show. And one of our longest running bits on Ben and Woods is the Incorporator. Now,
you know the Incorporator, Matty?
Of course I do. Are you kidding me?
We did not come up with the Incorporator, but I hadn't heard it regularly done anywhere else like this in Southern California until Jesse Agler started doing it every Tuesday night during the Padres games. So I was a little confused, Benny, when you sent over this clip from @Dodgers with featuring Dave Roberts, they're doing some bits at the All-Star game. Take a listen.
I've got two words that they want me to work into a press conference. Actual press conference. So I'm going to work them in. Sweet potato and starfish.
Interesting. So now there's the video of Dave Roberts walking up to
the podium.
Well, you know what? I was hoping we didn't have a home run swing off. And then obviously Eugenio got hit in the hand. So I had to replace him with my starfish, Kyle Stowers. That's his new nickname, Starfish.
Okay. What was your favorite takeaway from this weekend?
Well, I had, so when I come to Atlanta, I got this restaurant that I get my favorite sweet potato. So that was one takeaway that I had, pop in Atlanta and get my favorite meal. You know what? Spending time with the guys. There's more talent in this game, top top to bottom in there.
So he goes on, but he worked in sweet potato and starfish.
That's so.
I'll let you draw your own conclusion.
That's disappointing on so many levels.
The person who looks the best here is Jesse
Agler.
Jesse Agler, always.
Who obviously does it so much better than Dave was able to do it. Now, Dave's first time trying the incorporator, but a fairly pedestrian effort by the skipper for the National League there.
Jesse
come
Agler,
better with that.
Jesse Agler is, I said earlier, we are so lucky to have him as our play-by-play announcer. He is, I honestly believe he's a true genius at what he does and how he does it. Operator is just one aspect of watching him seamlessly sort of wax poetic and figure it all out.
He's the best.
I love listening to him.
Jesse's brilliant.
He's
unbelievable.
If there's someone better doing what he's doing right now, I can't believe that's possible.
All right, finally, a little do this on a Thursday.
DD mega doo-doo.
And we saw the story earlier this week from the Philadelphia Phillies when they gave Christopher Sanchez his all-star bonus, even though he was snubbed for the team. Well, it's happened again. Despite an excellent first half to the season, Nathan Eovaldi of the Texas Rangers was not selected as an all-star, but the team said, you know what, you're an all-star to us, and they are going to pay out his $100,000 all-star bonus in his contract, even though he didn't make the team because they felt like he deserved to make the team. I was listening to MLB radio this morning for a few minutes. Steve Phillips, who was, former GM of the Mets, and he goes, they're a lot more generous than I would have been. If I was a GM and I didn't have to pay out the $100,000, I wasn't going to be paying out the $100,000. But nowadays, I guess teams feel like it's in their best interest to keep their players happy. And for $100,000, maybe that's chump change for the Texas Rangers to make a good impression on Nathan Eovaldi.
Everybody gets $100,000. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's good business if you have it that says you have to be an all-star to get $100,000. But if you're not an all-star, we're still going to give you $100,000.
Paulie, do you think if we don't finish high in the ratings, but we did really good shows, that Odyssey would say, you know what, we're going to give you your ratings bonus anyway. I know you didn't actually reach it, but we feel like you're doing such a great job. We're going to pay you out your ratings bonuses anyway.
I think it'd be more like, hey, you guys actually owe me $1,500 each for second quarter.
Pay back.
Thanks.
And that is don't and do this for a Thursday.
Also, can you guys do another round table?
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
For Adam, he's on vacation in
He's
Florida.
back today. He's back today.
He's back today? Okay.
Yeah, it's fair game to pick on Adam
fair
again.
Game, no longer on vacay. We do have a roundtable today coming up at 10 o'clock. We got more, though, with Matt Ginella, and I do want to get into a little golf. I know some people roll their eyes whenever I talk about golf. It's a major. It's the last major of the year, and it's, I think, maybe, Maddie, the most fun major of the year. The Open Championship.
When people ask me, I've been covering golf 30 years, and they say, which should I go to? I say, a European-based Ryder Cup or an Open Championship. It just sits differently over there. It's so much fun. It's so much more relaxed. The movement of what you get to do and how you get to do it. It just, there's so, like at Augusta, you're on eggshells. You don't want to break any rule. It just doesn't, US Open is just usually hot and crowded and 12 deep. Open Championships, obviously the weather can come and go, but even if the weather comes, you pop into a pub, and it's they call it the crack, especially in Ireland, and it goes.
Not CRACK though.
CRAIC.
CRAIC, the crack.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get
Woodsy's would be good at the crack.
He would be. Yeah, we'll get an update from Royal Portrush, and I want to hear more. We talked about Scotty Scheffler and his comments pre-tournament about not really finding happiness with his wins other than a few seconds, and then it's over. And you've gotten to meet a lot of these guys. I'm fascinated by the mindset of these golfers. We'll get to that. More Padres talk on the way as well with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. GEGE 000-466. For a full list of games and rules, play at 7 Mile Casino. Visit 7milecasino.com.
7 Mile Casino is so nice. I will say it twice for the second time this morning. I will implore you, if you have not yet checked it out, if you play cards, if you are watching the World Series from Vegas this week, you got the itch to sit down at a Texas Hold'em table. They just crowned the $10 million champion in Vegas yesterday. Michael Mizrachi won the bracelet and was immediately inducted into the Poker Hall of Fame. Maybe that's your path, but you can start it by sitting down at one of the great tables at 7 Mile Casino right there in Chula Vista. It's so easy to get to. There are other card rooms in San Diego. Most of them are at the Native American casinos that are about 45, 50 minutes out of town. Don't forget, you don't have to just drive there. You have to drive back at the end. That's like 2 hours that you could be sitting and enjoying yourself, enjoy a cocktail, enjoy the nicer weather and the views at 7 Mile Casino right there on the water in Chula Vista on San Diego Bay. So many great reasons to head on down there. If you don't play Texas Hold'em, California-style blackjack, just trying to make 21, very easy game. There's also Pai Gow Poker and Baccarat for all your card playing enjoyment at 7 Mile Casino, plus the great food at Sammy's. It's open 24/7 with 24/7 players menu. Maddie, it's the best Kung Pao chicken I've ever had, bar none, at 7 Mile Casino. I know, it's crazy. You can check it out yourself at 7 Mile Casino, just 7 minutes from downtown.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the player's place.
Woods and I were talking yesterday about my spiritual kinship with Scotty Scheffler. Just two very white bread, boring human beings.
Yeah.
And we talked about Scotty's stunning arrest last year at the PGA Championship in Kentucky.
And something you would have been arrested
and
for.
how he must have felt like how nervous he would have been. Like I can picture him like my life is over. I got arrested. I'm in the back of a cop car heading to the county lockup in Kentucky. I'm supposed to be playing in a tournament. Like my life is probably over right now. Turned out fine. Obviously, he got out, made his tee time, and played well that day.
But like if Ben Higgins was ever going to get arrested, I think there's two options. There's option A, he gets pulled over for like driving the wrong way, trying to get into a golf course. Or he's Walter White and he has a drug empire that nobody knows about.
Or he's going too slow.
I don't know that there's anything in between that Ben Higgins could ever get arrested for.
So we had this conversation yesterday, and Woods joked that he wants to see my mugshot. And so Paulie yesterday
on a t-shirt.
Can I put it up?
No.
Why?
I can't. Well, here's the thing. So Paulie went on. What did you do? ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. I said, make a mugshot of this guy.
He created the mugshot of me, and I'm going, you can't post that. Nothing ever gets deleted on the internet, and people won't. People won't realize it's a joke. and we'll like look and think, oh, here's Ben's mugshot. Like I was not thinking about like today. Fine, we laugh. It's funny. But in 20 years, when someone like Google's Ben Higgins and then this mugshot comes up, they're not going to know that it was like a radio bit. It looks like a real mugshot created by ChatGPT.
It made me laugh.
I don't know, Benny. I think you're holding on. Let that go. Let it out there. It's the wild.
So I said, can you just delete that and delete the whole internet as well, just to be safe? Because I don't want that. I don't want that getting out there.
You don't want it out there. I won't do it.
Well, pick a different crime at least. Something more fun, like a bank robbery or something.
That's more fun.
I don't know. I think if you had to be accused of a crime, Maddie, what would you want to be accused of?
What do I want to be accused of?
Yeah. Like one of those. I think one of those like cool, like Ocean's 11 type, heist, like big,
Yeah, well, it'd definitely be
a cool heist.
I would be totally good getting caught trying to get my wife like the best jewelry.
Diamond thief.
Like if you're going down, like the Sean Connery, Catherine Zeta-Jones, through the lasers, trying to get to the big jewel that
what gets you the most rep in prison? Like like a diamond heist. They're like, oh, that guy's bad.
Yeah,
I don't know that does it.
I would love to be caught on my like 20th diamond heist. You know what I mean? Like I'd have 19 good ones in the books. And then
I think if you're like Dexter, like serial killer of other killers sort of thing, that would be pretty gnarly in prison. Yeah.
I think so.
Get some respect for that. I don't know.
He's like a good criminal, a good murderer.
I've never met Scotty personally. I assume you've interacted with him a few times.
Yeah.
All right, we'll give you an update on where Scotty Scheffler is on the leaderboard at the Open Championship, and hear from Maddie about Mr. Scheffler as well after a check traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danek.
Seeing a lot of that usual slowing in usual spots. Very few incidents or accidents. Just this one I need to mention in the North County. This is a collision involving a couple vehicles on the Barham Drive off-ramp, eastbound 78. I'm Kelly Danek with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Probably not going to stun everyone that Scotty Scheffler currently 3 under and just 1 shot off the lead through 17 holes at Royal Portrush. So a good start for the tournament favorite at the Open Championship, looking for his 2nd major win of the year and 4th of his career. Said it yesterday, Maddie, would you agree? Undoubtedly the best player in the world right now. I mean, you can make an argument for Rory, but I think Scotty Scheffler is just a step ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, and there is no real argument. You could have made an argument for Rory at the start of the season, but after the Masters, obviously Rory's having to figure it out mentally and spiritually to try to figure out where he goes next with his career after winning the career Grand Slam, and he's kind of been vocal about it. But no, Scotty Scheffler is definitely a #1 in the world, and he's got, he doesn't miss. He's got incredible, iron game, and then he's got great short game. I mean, you don't win the Masters without one. You don't compete at the Open Championship without one. So he's got a lot of creativity, a lot of touch, and he's the best that there's doing what he's doing right now.
Currently a shot behind a trio of golfers who are all finished with 67s today. Matt Fitzpatrick, Haotong Lee, and Jacob Skov Olesen, who I don't know anything about.
No, I've covered the game a long time. No idea. I know he's
makes
a lefty.
me feel better.
I know he's a lefty.
You knew more than I did. I didn't even know he was a lefty.
Yeah.
It made me a little sad earlier this week, though, to hear Scotty talking about the lack of happiness he derives from all of his successes on the golf course and how fleeting it is. Because I think we all imagine you get to the top of your field, the top of your profession, you win all these tournaments, you win all this money, and the tournament ends and you feel good about it for a couple of minutes, and then it's like, okay, now what do I do? And he had this long kind of unprompted just stream of consciousness at his press conference before the tournament, and I wanted to get your thoughts on Scotty and his mindset, and if you think that's kind of essential to being such a good at whatever you do, is to have that sort of mindset. I'm not in it for the accolades, I'm not in it for the trophies. As Andrew said, he didn't even know where his trophies are. Earlier this week, he literally had no idea where his old gold medal is. He thinks his other trophies are at his parents' house, but he's not sure. That's not why some of the best do it, to win these accomplishments.
Yeah, a lot to unpack there. I mean, I think first of all, Jason Day, we go to Jason Day's tournament every year, and he's got this beautiful sort of man room complex driving range, and he has this trophy case that is spectacular displays of all of his different trophies and medals, and it's gorgeous. I remember getting a chance to Zoom with Ken Griffey Jr. His backdrop in his office is all of his gold gloves, each individually in their own box and lit up, and the backdrop behind him is all of his gold gloves, and you're like, oh my God, that's cool. Amazing. That's really cool. So if I had trophies and gold, I would definitely want them in a display case and make know where they are at the very least. I think as it relates to Scotty Scheffler, this game, being at the top of any game, whatever the game is, each person has their own way of getting there. And then once you're there, how do you handle the pressure? What is the top of the mountain look like? Only a few people know. Scotty Scheffler is there right now. This is a guy who is very grounded in his family and faith. I remember watching Scotty Scheffler at the Old Course after, at the last 150th Open Championship, and he and Meredith are walking down the fairway 17 back to the Old Course Hotel, and they're walking down the middle of the fairway, and there are guys out there fixing all the divots, putting sand in the divots, and he's literally walking around thanking each one of those people. And he didn't know he thought no one was he didn't think anybody was watching. He wasn't doing it for any other reason other than he was. And I just observed that again. I was like, this guy is just a genuinely good human being. And that I've never heard anything said differently about him. Some people despise losing more than they like winning, right? Like some people are driven by that fear of losing. And I don't know what Scotty Scheffler's, drive is or what gets him there, the motivation to hit the balls, to practice, to prepare. I just think golf can come and go, and it's a brutal sport. And right when you think you have it, you lose it. Tiger Woods tweaked his swing how many times? This is Tiger Woods, 82 wins, 15 major championships, and felt inclined to constantly keep tweaking his swing. We've seen Justin Rowe. We've seen all these guys do a variety of things. I saw Wyndham Clark last year at the Pure Insurance stand up in front of 82 kids, talk about how he had finally gotten control over his anger issues, and he had reset his mind, and that he only now thinks about the next shot can always be the best shot you can hit. And that's the way and it was a beautiful thing that he said to the kids. And then he's, blows up Oakmont's locker room.
And they don't do this yesterday.
And he's banned from Oakmont. Like this game can just wreak havoc on your spirit and your mind. And I think whatever he needs to do and say to himself and be in a place to stay balanced and have a balance in life is what he needs to do.
I think in many ways, golf and baseball are two of the most similar sports, at least hitting in baseball and playing golf. Obviously, the ball's not moving in golf where it is in baseball, but the simple fact that you can be so good as a hitter and then go into a month-long slump. We've seen it with, Tatis earlier. We've seen it with Arise, Jackson Merrill. How can you be so good at something for so long and then so bad at it for another extended period of time? And golf is like that. And you locked in, you feel good, like you've got it forever. And then all of a sudden it's gone. And it's like, what did I do differently? You don't even know what you're doing differently. You feel like you're making the exact same swing and you're not getting the results. And I imagine baseball hitting is that way as well.
Well, the other thing is what is happening off the course, off the field, that bleeds its way into results on the course or on the field, right? There's something to be said for that too. And that I think that generally has impact. That was the marvel of Tiger, to find out that all of this other stuff was happening to him off the course and he was still able to maintain that consistency is crazy.
I want to get more from Matty. He said he's got a Jack Nicklaus story he wants to share, but when we come back, reset the show. I got to find out about your wife's job a little bit more as well.
Oh boy.
He's a real house husband. That's coming up next here on The Fan. Manchester, England, Woods is officially in you. Welcome back. Hour number 3, halfway home here on a Thursday. It is Ben and Woods. Got Paulie here, and we got Matt Ginella sitting in for Woods today. My buddy, formerly from the Golf Channel, now with Fire Pit Productions, talking Padres, talking a little bit of golf. But I want to let everybody in the chat, in our app, in our stream know that if you have a loved one who doesn't really listen to Ben and Woods because they're not sports fans, they're not into the Padres, but do watch a lot of reality television and are a fan of the program, The Real Housewives of Orange County, get them to the radio right now. This would probably be the one segment that they are actually going to want to listen to the Ben and Woods program, because Matty Ginella, in addition to all the things he does himself as a great storyteller and broadcaster, also happens to be a real house husband of Orange County for the past 2 seasons on the Bravo network, where his wife, Katie Ginella, was introduced last year as the newest cast member of one of the longest running reality programs on television. And I will admit, I'm coming at this conversation from the outside. Yeah. I'm not a regular watcher of the program. I don't know all the sordid details, but I am beyond curious as to how this all works in reality television. Like how it operates, how your life is on camera and your family is on camera, and then all these events and everything that you do and parties and interactions that you have, and then all the fighting and drama that goes on. I'm stressed out just like hearing you talk about it, and you have to live it for weeks at a time. How did you get into this? And how did Katie get into this, Matt?
Yeah, well, it is my wife. It is Real Housewives of,
Yes.
of Orange County. So just let's be clear that this is, my wife is really going through this. It came about because we became friendly with Byron Scott. I did a travel show to Danzante Bay in Mexico, and we co-hosted this event, Byron Scott and I did.
Not the former Laker.
Yeah.
The former Laker, Byron Scott.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
avid
was
golfer.
his wife
on the show too?
So they were on Basketball Wives.
Right.
I think they did Basketball Wives. And so we got to friendly with Byron and his wife, Cece. And at some point, she was asked by producers who might be interested in doing Real Housewives of Orange County. Well, Katie got a call. My wife, Katie, got a call as we were moving into San Diego. This is about 4.5 years ago. And it was like not the right time. And we're moving into San Diego. It's Orange County. They called back again and again. And actually, we were starting a business with another couple in Orange County. There was talk of us moving there anyway. So we kind of we were migrating north, and another call came. She said, should I would go through the process? Go ahead. If that's what she wanted to do. She had done some modeling. She's done some TV. She's done, some broadcasting. So she thought, try it out. And sure enough, she got cast for it. And, we thought we knew what we were getting ourselves into, but until you're in it, you have no idea just how crazy this has become.
Like this show and this world in particular, I'm guessing you guys probably got a lot of advice, maybe from former cast members or people that were in the know, and probably some warnings and just kind of what to expect, how to react and everything.
Yeah.
It was all of that, and then like times 10, right?
Multiplied by 100, to be honest with you. And
you were telling us like you were in Ireland with Katie recently, and like people were like chasing you down on bikes to get pictures with her.
Yeah, no, I mean she's only been on one season, and she's being stopped everywhere we go now. I've been around a lot of celebrities, and and I have never the fan base for Bravo and these reality shows is pretty intense.
So I don't, we don't want to get you in trouble because like episode 2 of the current season airs tonight, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Episode 2?
Yeah.
So, and it's tough because like you can Google things and like, cause you guys, when did you film? You film earlier in the year.
It's like February, March, April,
right.
May, I think 4 months of filming.
So and things get leaked out.
And how much how intrusive are the cameras in your life? I mean, how much time are you actually spending filming while you are, during the season that's ongoing?
Yeah, you get she gets a schedule, at the start of every week. I mean, it's obviously very intrusive for her, and she gets put in a lot of situations, a pairing, a lunch, a dinner, an all cast, a trip. When it comes to coming back home, there will be probably a scene or two per week at home where she downloads either myself or our daughter or the both of us together. So and then they do a variety of bank shots where they get, cutaways of the house or some of the things that, that we do as a family.
You feel like you have to keep the house kind of extra clean?
My wife here's the thing about my wife. She is a real housewife of Orange County. My wife keeps an impeccably clean house. How I travel, I'm gone all the time. I come home, my luggage hits the front door. She has unpacked it, washed it, folded it. It's back in the closet before I can even go. It trips me out sometimes. It's already back folded clean in the closet. That you could eat off the floors in our house. Like, it is meticulous. So when they say, oh, the cameras are coming, and she goes, oh, we have to clean up, I'm like, more? I mean, clean up what? She's she's a ninja.
So it's no secret that Katie is involved in quite a bit of drama with the cast. A lot of arrows being slung, really at her, in her direction. What is going on? What is this like for you to have to sit there and watch all of this? Because look, we met your wife once at the Goat Hill last year. She is a gem. She is so sweet. She's the nicest person. It's hard to even picture her in these situations. It's some of the most catty 7th grade bullying drama, and it's real. This is not scripted. These are not actors just reading lines and it's like, hey, Katie, you're gonna have to wear it in this episode. Like, this is real, authentic beef.
Well, my wife is very real and very authentic. I can speak about my wife's authenticity, which when we went into this, it was, we've both been in around TV. The general agreement as a family was we are going to stay true to who we are. She was going to stay true to who she is and let the chips fall where they may. Whether the other cast members are as authentic, I have a lot of strong opinions about that. But here's what I can tell you is that this matters to my wife. This hurts her. She has a soul. She has a heart. She has invested in various friendships and relationships amongst the cast members that either work or don't work out. And it's gutting to watch. I literally can't watch the show. I have stopped watching the show. I watch her live it in real time. I don't want to then rewatch her live it, as it plays out on TV. We get enough clips and various things come up on, algorithms of social media. I see just enough. It drives me crazy. I heard Woodsy say yesterday, I don't know what I would do, if my wife is on. It's very, very hard for me. I love my wife. I'm there to support my wife. I am her biggest fan. I want to, I don't like it. I don't like the people who cause her pain and harm, just like any husband would feel about their wife. So this has been really hard for me. They always say the second season is going to be hard on the housewife. This is a really hard, already out of the gates, you can see it's very hard for her. And again, I still don't understand what she did that's so wrong. Like, I just feel like a lot of this is being played up against her in the spirit of just being anti her. They just don't like her.
So again, I never watched the show. I find this so fascinating as to, how you can put your life out there and how difficult that. Of course, there's, I'm sure some.
You put your life out there, though.
Yeah, a little bit. It's different, though.
Not to 17 million people.
It is definitely different. But I do have a question, and I'm curious because fans of this show are notoriously crazy, kind of. I mean, they are, passionate about the show, but they get into so many details about the lives of the people who are on the air, and they're online, and there's all kinds of like fan groups and chat rooms and stuff where they, share their thoughts and theories on the show.
The Housewives are like the Dallas Cowboys for the Bravo fans.
There's like a Bravo Con that's coming up, and they'll have fans coming from all over the world to meet the women and that are part of the show, and it's fascinating to me. But my very Ben question here is, so I'd imagine that all those fans, as they are commenting on all the women, also have thoughts on the husbands as well. Do you ever go online to see what the Bravo fans are saying about you, even with your limited appearances that you make as the +1 on the show occasionally?
I'm sure there is stuff I'm used to, I've been in media for a long time. There's always been a lot of various people, there's a lot of love and hate that always comes no matter what you say or no matter what you do. I had an incident last year at one of the last, episodes of the season in which one of the OG, Shannon Bedour, who's been on, she's been on for a long time. I don't know how many years, but she's one of the OGs, and she had a rough season last year, and she was regularly melting down and then sort of walking off set, a variety of sets. She would just, I'm out of here, and it was at the finale show, and it was a long show, and I'm watching, I'm so off to the corner. I'm not connecting with a lot of the people on the show, to be honest with you. We're not talking a lot of baseball or golf on this show. Like, it just doesn't, it's not really my world. So right. I'm kind of off to the side, minding my own business. I'm more interested in the production of it all. So I'm talking to the producers, and I figure if I'm talking to the producers, I'm not on, which is great. Perfect. I'll just hide out in the corner. And here comes Shannon. I'm watching, she's melting down. I was trying not to watch my wife get yelled at, and here comes Shannon, and she's like, I'm out of here. This she comes right to me and starts talking to me, and she's like, I'm out of here. I go, yeah, maybe it's time to take a break. I'm trying to console her, and she goes, well, don't tell me what to do. And I'm like, okay, well then get back out there and fight. And she goes, you have no idea who she starts going in on me. I got this little sliver of what my wife deals with on a regular basis, of which you literally can't win. And she walked off yelling at me, then told my wife, you can't believe what your husband just said. She goes, what did he say? I was like, what did I say? What this
you feel like every husband ever who gets in an argument, and it wasn't even with your own wife.
Exactly.
No. What was I supposed to say here?
The last thing I need is to get into a fight with another housewife that's not even my housewife. That's not, that's not on my bingo card.
You have to look. You're totally right, Shannon. You're totally right. Whatever you're saying.
But even if I would have said that, you would have been like, you're wrong.
Good Lord.
No,
man.
It was like a snippet of like, wow. And that got a lot of attention, because it was kind of like, what did I just step into?
So what is your guys' life like right now during like the start of a season? Like, when do you guys get like a little bit of a downtime? I imagine there's a lot of press, especially at the start of a season. You have the filming. You said it's like 2 or 3 months, and then probably a little downtime. Then it ramps back up again in the summer when the show starts airing.
Yeah.
So what do you guys got going on?
No, yeah, it's kind of a 10 to 11 month year for her, because even after they're done filming, they do these confessionals. Like they connect the dots of the narrative by bringing her in on a regular basis to sit down, and she'll sit down for 5, 6, 7 hours, and they just keep asking her questions about, so that they can connect the dots of the narrative. And that goes all the way through. And then they have a reunion that's kind of like a live reunion. She'll do Watch What Happens Live. We'll go to New York at the end of this month and be on with Andy Cohen. Yeah. So she'll do that. And then, it goes all the way through, I think, to BravoCon. I think that might be in November, in which I think she's going to that. So, yeah.
Well, we're all pulling for Katie and for you guys, and
we need all the help and support we can get. It is.
I will admit, I'm fairly naive. I've gotten some help from the wife on everything that's going on, and it does seem like not that maybe it matters all that much, but the people that are watching all of this drama and these fights going on, I haven't seen a lot of people that are not on Katie's side. Like everyone, it does feel like Katie is clearly a victim.
Bully behavior is something that you would think might happen, at an elementary or high school, junior high school level. And the idea that, and one of the reasons why she ultimately did this is my wife is an adoptee from Korea. She's the first Asian on Real Housewives of Orange County in 19 seasons. This is the third largest Asian population in the United States, is Orange County. She felt like she, as an adoptee, as an Asian, as the first, she thought that was a huge opportunity and a platform that she could and be proud of representing, a lot of different categories.
Sure.
And that was kind of the thrust, and I'm really proud of her and how she's handling this. A lot of people said, why would you even come back? She didn't want to let them get the best of her, to let them beat her out of sort of being on this show. And I'm like I said, we could use all the help and support she gets. She certainly can. I try to give her as much as I can. I think the people we've realized who our friends are, and in part who your friends aren't, going through all this process.
I bet.
Well, I wish you the best of luck, but I will say very sincerely from the bottom of my heart, better you than me.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a timeout. When we come back, it is a Throwback Thursday. We're going to play a little game of real or fake, a chance to qualify for our getaway to Las Vegas, the Motley Crue tickets. If you want to be our contestant, call in now, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973, and then we'll get back to some Padres talk, getting ready for the second half of the season. Don't go anywhere. Ben and Woods continuing on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Before we get to traffic, though, Woods is usually here to join me, but we would both implore you, if you have not yet taken care of your estate by filling out some very simple documents. You can do so by going to trustandwill.com. It is a very easy process. Woods and I both did it earlier this year over the holidays. We had avoided it for many years thinking, we'll get to it later. Well, you know what? If you keep saying that, at some point you may leave your family in a world of hurt because you didn't spell out what you want to happen with your possessions, with your estate when you're gone. And you can do that with some simple online questions at trustandwill.com. It's a really affordable process. And when you use the code FAN at checkout, you're going to get an additional 20% off and free shipping of your estate documents. A trust will help keep your family out of probate court. If you don't put one down, the state will decide. The state will charge a lot of money to go through probate court and tie up your assets for months and months and months. All very preventable simply by setting up your trust right now at trustandwill.com. And make sure to take advantage by using that code FAN at checkout, FAN, get 20% off. And again, free shipping of your estate documents at trustandwill.com. That's trustandwill.com.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Jamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the players' place.
I've got I think it's kind of a mind bender. It's a topic for the roundtable later this morning, Paulie. So keep thinking about this. But I want to get Maddie's thoughts on it coming up here as a Padres fan. Matt Ginella sitting in for Woods today before we get to real or fake. And here is one of the questions. If you could bring back one of the 4 key players that the Padres let get away in free agency, and by key players, guys who had at least a 1 WAR for them last season. Those were Jurickson Profar, Ha-Seong Kim, Kyle Higashioka, and Donovan Solano were the 4 players last year that contributed at least 1 WAR to the team, but they let go in free agency and are all currently back and playing now for their new teams. Jurickson in Atlanta, Ha-Seong Kim in Tampa, Kyle Higashioka in Texas, and Donovan Solano with the Mariners. You just bring back one of those guys right now. Which one would you bring back?
Higgy Pop, baby.
Yeah, I knew. I thought you might say that.
I loved his presence. I loved his demeanor. I loved, he had a bat. I mean, I've said it many times. I don't know. I hate that he left.
I know.
And look at the whole. It's just been this conveyor belt of 100 hitting 100 and it's like a mess.
It's a product of all of the different factors, like who we have now behind the dish and how great he was, especially in the second half last year, Higgy. And you're like, we talk about Higgy and how we're missing him like he's Yadier Molina.
I mean, I loved Ha-Seong Kim. My son's favorite player is Ha-Seong Kim. He had great energy, but he couldn't hit. And
honestly, with Ha-Seong Kim,
that is not true.
Well,
I think he's the type of player
I wanted
that
him hit better.
He was the type of player that is here for 4 years, and all of a sudden, like you're like, oh, here comes the 7-year contract extension. It's not always a bad thing to let somebody play out their contract and shake their hand and say thanks for your time. I don't know that we can have you back next year.
Yeah. So I'm gonna hold on to the thought because I want to explain a couple of the things that I thought about, because Kyle Higashioka, I think, is definitely. I think the answer that we're seeing, everyone in the chat's going Higashioka, but I want to bring up a couple of points, and we'll get to that coming up here at the bottom of the hour. First, though, it is time to play our game. It is Thursday, so let's get to it. Let's get to some real or fake.
Some are here for the compelling sports talk with Ben and Woods.
Yeah, you can go plow through another donut.
It's time for Real or Fake on 97.3 The Fan. Tell the people what they'll win today.
Real or Fake, brought to you by Bay Alarms, security and fire alarms for every business. We got you, and we got, what is this, David?
Yeah.
David, good morning. How are you?
Hi, good morning, guys.
Good morning. Say hello to Matty Ginella, because he might be able to help you out today on Real or Fake as well as he sits in for Woods.
Got on you, Matty. Let's go. We got this.
You guys got it.
Let's do it.
All right, so here's how our game works, David and Matt. We've got a category today, and if you can get 4 out of the 7 right, David will qualify for our grand prize drawing at the end of the month. It is a 2-night stay at the Park MGM Las Vegas and 2 tickets to Motley Crue on September 19th. A $100 gas card as well. Catch Motley Crue's Las Vegas residency at Dolby Live at Park MGM September 12th through October 3rd. Tickets available now at Ticketmaster.com. And David's got to phone a friend that he can use with you to help him on one of the questions. So in honor of Matty Ginella, David, today's category on Real or Fake is the Real Housewives franchise. For today's game, I will give you the name of a television program. You tell me if it was a real spinoff of the series Real Housewives, of any of them, or it's a fake that I have made up to fool you. Kind of a guessing game. How well do you know some of the spinoffs, Matt? Not that well? All right, David, you watch Real Housewives at all, or is this a pure guessing game for you?
I can't say this is my strongest category, but
well, you know what? You only need 4 out of the 7 right. If the coin flips your way, maybe people in the chat can help you out as well. All right, here we go. Round number 1. The Candy Factory. The Candy Factory. Real or fake spinoff of the Housewives?
I'm going to say real.
You're going to say real, and it is real. Megan's dying. She would be going 7 for 7 in this category.
All right,
that's
we'd be
one.
going to Vegas for sure.
1 out of 1. Here's round number 2. The Bardsley Bunch. Real or fake? The Bardsley Bunch.
The Bardsley Bunch? I'm going to say fake.
You going to say fake? Oh, David, you're hot. That's 2 for 2. All you need
don't
is
have
2
to lie
more.
to us. You're a Bravo fan.
All right, let's go with round number 3.
Huge fan.
Manzode with children. Manzode with children. Real or fake?
Manzode with children. Let's go fake.
That one is real. That one's a real spinoff. All right, we are 2 and 1. You're still in good shape. Let's go to round number 4. Bethany Ever After. Bethany Ever After. Real or fake, David? You might want to ask Maddie on this one.
But I'm going to say real.
You didn't need Maddie. Got it. Yeah, you knew that one, Matt. He's
Bethany
Frankel's one of the more prominent, I think, members of the Real Housewives franchise. All right, all you need is one more, and you're a winner, David. Let's try Portia's Having a Baby. Portia's Having a Baby. Real or fake?
I'm going to say fake.
No, hold on.
Oh, not too late.
Answer's in.
That one too. That was real. All right, that's okay. You have 2 more chances here.
I tried.
Kenya's Safari. Kenya's Safari. Real or fake?
I'm going to go real.
No, that one's fake. There is a Kenya, but she never had a spinoff called Kenya's Safari.
On that one too.
All right, we're down to the last one. It always comes down to round 7 somehow. All right, real or fake? Real Housewives spinoff. Hot Mama Teresa. Hot Mama Teresa. Real or fake, David?
Well, I guess, it only makes sense to use my phone friend, right?
Yeah, he looks kind of confused, though. Any idea, Maddie?
I'd have to go fake on this.
He's going fake. David, it's up to you.
Let's go with him. I'm
fake?
going fake.
It is.
Real. No, it's real.
Well, he said fake.
It's fake.
And it's fake.
Okay, good.
Congratulations.
There's no way you're going to go Mother Teresa's name.
You have won today's game of Real or Fake. Stay on the line, Paulie. I'll put your information in for our drawing for Las Vegas. Ooh, that was tense at the end. I have no idea what really any of those shows are about. I just Googled it up and then made up
one
a
of
few
them's about a
my own.
women having a baby. I know.
Portia's having a baby.
Yeah,
I think it's about
I think I can
Portia
figure that one out.
having a baby. The Manzode with children is about, I think, the Manzode family. And
I don't
they
know.
have children, apparently.
Don't know.
Well, you'll need to get Megan to explain it all to you later.
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand.
I'll get the full rundown and come back tomorrow.
All right,
with
I'm
some
going to
homework.
get deeper into the four that got away and which one would help the Padres the most if they were to return this season. Coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. See that.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the players' place.
Just a reminder, you can grab your clubs and tee off for a great cause. Join us for the 4th annual Salute to Heroes Charity Golf Tournament, Monday, July 28th at Loma Santa Fe Country Club. Enjoy a day of golf, food, prizes, and camaraderie, all to honor our local heroes and support veterans programs. Register today at sandiegosocialleague.org. July 28th, Loma Santa Fe, 4th annual Salute to Heroes Charity Golf Tournament. And going to be some celebrities in attendance, including former Padre Greg Vaughn, we talked about it yesterday, Arabian Prince from NWA, Zab Judah, 6-time world champion boxer, and more as well. And we're going to be out there broadcasting live that morning, Paul.
Yeah, a week from Monday.
Wow,
right?
it's happening fast.
Yeah.
Where's July going? Well, it's going pretty fast as the All-Star break wraps up today. Every team returns to action tomorrow. Padres will be in Washington, D.C. to take on the Nationals. And, of course, we've got our eyes on the trade deadline, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. Now, there's no rule that you can't bring back a player that used to play on your team at the trade deadline. I don't know if the Padres are exploring any of that, but I asked the question before the break. If you could bring back one of the guys that you let get away during the offseason that had a WAR of at least one for you last year, and there were 4 guys who left. Jurickson Profar had a 3.6 WAR last year, obviously a career season, made the All-Star game, and was a huge driver for the first, 4.5, 5 months of the Padres offense last year. This year, well, he's been on suspension for most of the season, but is back now for the Braves. Negative 0.1 WAR in very limited action, but is available, is back, and, maybe you'd be getting the good Jurickson Profar rested and ready to go.
Is
for
this
the second half of the
hypothetical?
season. It's pretty hypothetical.
No, I'm saying, are you saying go reacquire them in the next 2 weeks?
I mean, there's no rule that says you couldn't.
No, I'm just want to be clear because that can change your answer.
But what you'd be getting is the current version of the player that right now, like if you went and reacquired them right now, who would help the Padres the most?
Well, Profar is ineligible for the playoffs.
That is part of it.
That is part of it.
Now,
weigh in.
He was the best player last year, but of course hasn't played much this year and would not be able to help you if you did get to the postseason.
I wasn't sure if you were talking about revisionist, go back in time to the offseason and make sure you don't lose one of these.
I'm literally saying if you could just pluck one of those team guys off in a trade from their current teams, which one would you want back? Second option, Ha-Seong Kim had a 2.6 WAR for the Padres last year. Just returned after his shoulder injury, made his debut for the Tampa Bay Rays before the All-Star break. Has yet to amass. He's got a 0.0 WAR, but is now healthy. Hit a home run. Looked good, in the first couple of games that he had. I think he's got 22 at-bats so far this year. Ha-Seong Kim. Kyle Higashioka, who, of course, hit, 20 home runs between the regular season and the playoffs for the Padres with a 1.4 WAR, but has hit 2 for the Texas Rangers this year. Does have a 0.5 WAR, actually the best of the 3 so far, or the 4 so far this season, and of course, a position of massive need for the Padres behind the plate. And then there's Donovan Solano, who had a 1 WAR last year for the Padres coming off the bench. He only has a 0.1 WAR this year for the Mariners. So all 4 of those guys have had much worse years than they did last year for the Padres. In a sense, the Padres made a savvy decision in letting all 4 of those guys go rather than overpay on free agent contracts to keep them. Matty, you're giving me a confused look. Why would you say that the Padres are better off without those 4 guys? But none of them have had anywhere near the seasons that they had last year for the San Diego Padres.
Yeah, that wasn't the look I was giving you. I was listening. I was just listening
All
intently. Right. But I think Ha-Seong Kim, where would you put him? There's no actual place for him. And Profar he's not. You can't use him in the playoff. That doesn't solve any needs.
He can help you maybe get there if he comes back and does what Profar does when he's in a Padres uniform, which is
Yeah, he had a horrible second half. I'm done moving on from Profar, but Higgy would be the guy. I mean, and I think it would be can you trade for him? Why wouldn't you want to bring him back? I mean,
all right, here's devil's advocate here. I love Higgy as well. One of Woodsy's favorite guys he's ever had on the Padres, and he was huge last year hitting those home runs. If Higgy does in the second half what he did in the first half for the Rangers and hits 2 home runs and gives you below average
4.
Is he at 4 now?
Yeah, 241 with 4 home
4
runs
homers.
and 25
Well,
RBIs.
all right, so it's 3 more. Gives you below average defense behind the plate. It's not a huge upgrade. You need last year's Higgy. Are you getting last year's Higgy who hit 17 home runs, or are you getting this year's Higgy? Because last year's Higgy, I think that it's an easy answer.
Well,
if you could just get last year's Kyle Higashioka and put him in at catcher, and he's going to mash and have a month like he did. What was it? Was it July or August, where he just absolutely took 10 home runs in a month? Of course, that's the person that the Padres need the most. Is that Kyle Higashioka? That's not been who was for most of his career. He's a guy who'll hit 1 or 2 home runs a month, is usually a backup catcher that plays, maybe twice, maybe 3 times a week. You have to expect that that's the Kyle Higashioka you're getting. This dream Kyle Higashioka, who had the best season of his career with the San Diego Padres last year, that's not necessarily the reality of what you'd be getting in Kyle Higashioka.
I totally understand, but the game that you've presented is pick one of the 4.
Right.
And the one of the 4 to me is obviously Higgy. And regardless of whatever he's hitting now, you're getting him feeling like he's got good vibes and energy here, and he's a good match for this team. And he loves San Diego.
And I'm looking at the numbers. He is an upgrade.
He is
over Diaz and Maldonado.
Everyone's an upgrade.
Take 241 right now.
100%. He is an upgrade.
It's doubling the catcher's batting
I will
average.
argue. I can't trust Jurickson, and with no availability for the playoffs, I wouldn't pick him. And Donovan Solano, while the Padres need an upgrade to their bench, maybe as badly as they do from the catcher's position, just don't know that he's got enough. He's a year older. What is he now? 39.
I love Iglesias, by the way.
Iglesias is good. Ha-Seong Kim is Iglesias times 5. And if there was one guy I could have back, now healthy through his shoulder injury, the versatility, the defense, you could put him anywhere. You could DH him, or you could give Manny and Jake and Arise and Ted. You could give so many guys DH days and put and Ha-Seong Kim's an upgrade in the field wherever he plays.
Iglesias has got a glove. He's literally single-handedly won
but
multiple
Ha-Seong Kim
games for us.
is going to be a better offensive player in the second half of the season than Jose Iglesias. Plus, how much everybody in that clubhouse loved Ha-Seong Kim.
I think they love Iglesias.
They do. I'm not saying you're getting rid of Iglesias. You can still have Iglesias and Ha-Seong Kim on your team.
And Ha-Seong Kim?
They need more players that can perform at the bottom of their order and from their bench. And if that pushes Jose Iglesias to now be a true bench player, that is coming off every single day on the bench and can be a defensive replacement and is not having to start 4 or 5 days a week against lefties. He's right-handed. Ha-Seong Kim can give you a little bit of pop on the right side of the plate, which is, you need someone who can hit against lefties. I know everyone wants Kyle Higashioka. I would make the argument that if I could get one guy back right now, that Ha-Seong Kim would actually have the biggest impact on the San Diego Padres.
I disagree.
Yeah, I think I'd push back on that. I think
keep Iglesias and get Higgy, and then go look for a real left field.
Okay, let me put it this way.
I think Higgy's more obtainable.
Everyone disagrees with me. I'm not price tag. I'm not talking about the price tag at the moment. I'm just talking about if you were a GM of the Minnesota Twins right now, and you said, all right, you get one of these 2 players. Just who's the better player, Ha-Seong Kim or Kyle Higashioka? The answer is Ha-Seong Kim every single time. Why wouldn't you acquire the best player available rather than simply trying to upgrade your worst position with a slightly better player behind the plate? Ha-Seong Kim is a much better overall all-around player, probably than all 3 of those other guys, by quite a bit. There's a reason that the Tampa Bay Rays, who spend no money on anybody, went out and gave him, what did he get in the offseason? What was his contract? Knowing that he was not even going to be available for the first half of the season, they still went out and gave him
2 years, 29
million, so $15 million a year, $14.5 million a year.
He hit 233 last year.
I said it earlier. It's not a bad thing
he
when
hit
a guy
233.
You sign a guy to a 4-year contract, and you get through year 3, and everyone's like, "Oh, is it extension time? Is it extension time?" Especially with the way the Padres hand out extensions, it's sometimes not the worst thing to just let a guy play out his contract, hit free agency, thank him for his contributions, and move on. And I think that's exactly what I was hoping would happen with Ha-Seong Kim. It's not a slight at Ha-Seong Kim at all. I agree. I loved having him here, but I don't know that we needed him moving forward.
I think Iglesias, I mean, the glove, the timely bat, the attitude, the energy, I think we got that was.
I'm a little surprised here.
Not once this year have I thought
Ha-Seong Kim hit 233, 11 home runs.
3 years, the fan base was rabidly.
I loved him.
He had a down year. Yes, he had a down year last year.
From the 855.
He hit 202, 251, 260.
I do owe you a traffic report right here.
Give me
10
seconds.
Give you a second to but I will remind everybody that yes, he had a down year last year. The previous 2 years, he was a 5-WAR player. A 5-WAR player. If you get 2.5 WAR in the second half, which is possible from Ha-Seong Kim, that would be an incredible addition, no matter where you played him.
I just not once this year with all the ups and downs. You can't say a roller coaster on this show. I understand that, but the ups and downs of the season, especially offensively, I haven't once said to myself, even like, God, I wish we had Ha-Seong Kim back this year. I just haven't said it. I haven't felt like that's what
double
this team
digits
is
in home
missing.
runs the last 3 years.
We need a left fielder and we need a catcher. He doesn't provide either of those things.
Correct. We don't need another middle infielder who hits 230.
All right, we'll check traffic.
Bad take.
Getting bullied. Getting bullied like I'm on Real Housewives here. We'll be back after check traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Eliminate Termite, the orange oil experts. Looks like things are starting to wind down on our roads a bit. However, we still have this crash clearing from the Barham off-ramp, eastbound 78. Looks like a couple vehicles involved. Stalled box truck south on 5 Coastline right before La Costa. It's in the center divide. Have termites? Eliminate Termite inspects, treats, and repairs termite damage, all with a full structural warranty. Their orange oil treatment is safe for people, pets, and the planet. No tent, no move out. Protect your home naturally. Schedule a free inspection at eliminatetermite.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I just wonder how sad Ha-Seong Kim would be to learn how quickly everybody has forgotten about him here in San Diego and how much you loved him for so many years. And now it's like, yeah, whatever. I mean, Kyle Higashioka is the man. Who cares about Ha-Seong Kim?
He addresses a area of need more than Ha-Seong Kim does right now.
LSN says in the chat, we already have a new chant with holy sheets. That to me is the thing that would be the only reason to bring him back was the
3-syllable chant.
Ha-Seong Kim, and we got holy sheets, so we're good. It's and we got a guy who hits 230 and plays a really good, has a really good glove in Iglesias, and we need a catcher. Ben, this is
I will acknowledge that the most realistic acquisition of those former 4 is Kyle Higashioka. In fact, I would not be surprised if there have already been discussions between AJ Preller and Chris Young of the Texas Rangers about Kyle Higashioka potentially being an upgrade for the Padres at the trade deadline.
Would you do Campy for Higgy?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Follow up on that.
It's more, could you maybe get an Adelise Garcia involved?
Of Ben & Woods coming up next here on 97.3 The Fan. Don't go away. don't know that I've ever dropped a more universally disagreed take here on the Ben and Woods program.
Ready for more whippings?
Welcome back. Final hour, Ben and Woods. Paulie Reindl, Matty G, Matt Ginella sitting in for Woodsy today, who has arrived successfully at Manchester, England for his show and should join us tomorrow morning. Probably the first half hour or so of the show is going to call in from Manchester, where it'll be a nice and comfortable 2 o'clock in the afternoon when we get started at 6 a.m. here.
Morning radio at 2 in the afternoon.
Which is really nice. Yeah, my take that everybody disagreed with that Ha-Seong Kim would be the most valuable of the previous Padres if you could just pick one of them to rejoin the team for the second half of the season. Everybody else is on the Higgy train. Bring back Kyle Higashioka, and I will say it is much more realistic contract wise and what it would cost in terms of a trade to bring back Kyle Higashioka versus any of those players. Now, I still think you're overpaying for Kyle Higashioka if you're bringing him back. Higgy's contract that he signed, and the Padres did try to sign him in the offseason. AJ Preller said they made what they thought was a competitive offer for Kyle Higashioka, but he got a better deal with the Texas Rangers, and I don't blame him for taking it.
Right.
You've got a limited career. He's near the end of his career. I know, he felt like a new guy for us, but Kyle Higashioka is already 35 years old. So whatever, brass rings he can grab at this point, he needs to take what he can, and he took it from the Texas Rangers. Now, they bring him back. They'd be locked into whatever the rest of that is, but considering how poorly the production has gone from the catching position, I think you'd accept that right now if you're the Padres. If you could get anything like what Kyle Higashioka did last season, that would be good. That would be a big, big bonus for the Padres down the stretch.
It's whatever you want to rank the needs of this team. I think Higgy checks off more boxes than any of the other three guys in your hypothetical. Just looking at his numbers, like, it wouldn't just be an improvement from what we currently have. It would be a pretty drastic improvement. Even as pedestrian as his numbers have been this year in a backup role for Texas, it would still be an upgrade. He's familiar with the majority of the pitching staff. He was well liked in the clubhouse. I think he was a bit of a fan favorite, especially with all the heroics he had towards the second half in the playoffs last year. I think it would be a no-brainer.
Right.
And it's just a matter of, like, is there anybody else in Texas that you could maybe pluck and improve your team?
Now you're talking, Paulie. That's what I like.
All right. You mentioned Adolis Garcia, which
he's the name that people I think immediately jump to.
All right. Now, if you're acquiring, let's say there is a package to be had that nets the Padres both Kyle Higashioka and Adolis Garcia. Rangers, we're not in this thing this year. We're going to try to retool and rebuild for next year. Now you're adding quite a bit of salary.
That would be an increase, yeah.
Because there's no reason that the Rangers are going to want to pay off anybody's contract if they're making those deals.
Right.
So at that point, you are blowing past the second luxury tax threshold and making a major commitment to, again, a guy who has been a backup catcher for his entire career and a guy who is having one of the worst seasons. Is it really smart to be investing that much in two guys who are not really either at their best right now or have never really been huge contributors over the course of their career? Adolis Garcia has. He's been an all-star. He's a slugger. You're hoping he bounces back with a change of scenery, but you can't guarantee that. That's a lot. That
one's a tougher sell. I'll give you that one for sure.
I understand now why AJ Preller always focuses on the star level players in these trade deadlines, because he is GMing not just for the now and the rest of the season, but he is trying to acquire players that he believes are good players going forward for as long as he possibly can have them. That's been one of the real hallmarks of AJ's acquisitions. And he did it last year as well. Guys who have more, control than just the rentals, just not the 3 months. But he picked up Jason Adam. He overpaid maybe for Jason Adam last year. A lot of people thought that's a lot to give up, but he knew it wasn't just for a pennant race. It was also to anchor his bullpen for the 2025 season, which has turned out to be quite true for the San Diego Padres. Where would they be without Jason Adam and his contributions? And AJ was willing to like pay a lot in prospect capital to get that deal done. To have Brian Hoeing thrown in the deal as well as part of, the trades that he made last year, knowing we're going to need an arm like Brian Hoeing at some point in these next year and a half. That's been really AJ's signature on these trades. It's not really just picking up that rental. Those rental guys almost never work out for the Padres. Those Adam Fraziers, the G-Man Choi, Garrett Cooper, I'm only going to be with your team for 3 months and then I'm gone. Those have been AJ's worst trades, to be honest. The ones where he's trying to pick up a guy who is, can help you now, but is going to be part of your team going forward, those have been really AJ's best trades. So that's kind of what I'm expecting AJ to be looking at right now at the trade deadline. Not the quick fix and the rental, but a guy that he thinks can be a semi-core piece going forward for the Padres.
Wyatt Langford.
Ooh, see, now that name is a little more intriguing from
that
the
would be amazing
Rangers perspective than maybe even Adolis Garcia.
Yeah, 15 home runs, left field.
Now you're talking about, Salas, DeVries,
but
top prospects.
Of course you are. But now you got a guy that's already up there and filling that hole and would fill that void for. Can you imagine Wyatt Langford, Jackson Merrill, and Fernando Tatis? That's like the Cubs outfield.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
Michael Harrison points out in our chat, Tanner Scott worked as a rental. He did. Austin Nola didn't work as a core guy when he made those trades. So, there are exceptions to AJ's moves and strategies. But, I would think if you're really focusing on guys, look at guys like Wyatt Langford. That would be maybe a bit of a surprise to baseball, but not necessarily an AJ Preller surprise. Those are more of the kind of players he likes to target.
Yeah.
Luis Robert is an interesting situation. That one to me is feasible because the White Sox might be willing to pay quite a bit to get rid of him and get him off the books for the rest of the year. You're just gambling that a change of scenery is going to be big if you would acquire him.
Yeah. Well,
but AJ does love raw talent, and Luis Robert has that in spades.
Yeah, and if you're going to give up raw talent, we might as well get some raw talent back.
I don't think you'd have to give up that much for Luis Robert. It would really depend on how much you'd get the White Sox to pay. The more they pay, the more you have to give up. If you're willing to take on most of the rest of the money this year, White Sox would probably give him up for next to nothing. So that's probably the equation when you're thinking about a potential Luis Robert deal. Now, I don't want the Luis Robert that is literally the worst player in baseball. I mean, remember, like the argument can be made that he's been the worst player in baseball. Is that the guy who's going to push you to a pennant in the National League? I don't think. I think AJ's probably got his sights set a little bit higher.
Well, I'd take Langford for sure.
All right,
Langford would be great, and then there's always going to be the Jarren Duran rumors, which everyone says they're hot conversations.
I don't think I want
AJ
Duran.
Preller. You don't want Duran.
I don't think so. I think
I would take him.
I think his stock is. I think his stock is falling. The price tag will be too high. And
let me ask you this: obviously, the price tag makes so much, has so much value in whether or not the Padres go out and get him. But doesn't he serve as an automatic upgrade still? Even on the downslide projections and everything, he's still an upgrade.
If you could feel like you got kind of a bit of a steal or didn't give up anyone you really felt great about, then of course I'd be interested in Jarren Duran. But to me, what it's going to cost and what he really is going to add in value to the Padres, being another left-handed hitter, that they already seem to do better against the righties. I just feel like there's other cheaper options that actually would be more effective for the San Diego Padres going forward. All right, other question, and this one is less of a hypothetical and more of a here and now for both of you. Which Padres player that is already on the team needs to step up the most in the second half of the season for the team to get where they want to go, to the postseason and to have a chance in the playoffs? Guy who's already here that you would like to see, if you could just wave your magic wand and go, you are going to have a really good second half.
Two names jump to mind immediately, and I'll throw them both out there. I would say Jackson Merrill.
Okay.
I don't know that this team goes very far without him at least getting back to some of what we saw last year. And I don't have any like long-term concerns or anything with Jackson Merrill. I'm just talking about this season. He turns it around and clutches up like we saw in the second half of last year. Look out. I think you also have to put Dylan Cease in there.
I think that's a very, very good call.
I don't want them to trade Dylan Cease. And I don't know, in my opinion, I don't think it's very likely that they do. I don't think that what you get from, okay, I put it this way. What's more likely, that you get better production from the pieces acquired in a Dylan Cease trade? Or is it more likely that Dylan Cease just figures it out and becomes Dylan Cease again over these next 2.5 months? I lean towards the latter. I think I'd be willing to risk that Dylan Cease locks in at least better than he has so far this year and gives us more value than players A and B that we acquire in a trade for him.
Maddie, what do you think?
I'm if you go back to the postseason, Dylan Cease to me cost us the postseason last year. Dylan Cease has not been right for a long time. I am done thinking that Dylan Cease is all of a sudden going to be the Dylan Cease who threw a no-hitter.
Okay, but if you could wave your magic wand in this hypothetical and get him to what we know he at least is capable of.
I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about. Hey, let's wave our magic wand and Jose Iglesias hits 30 home runs in the second half of the season. I'm talking about waving our magic wand and just making the guy kind of the best version of himself for a couple of months.
Fernando Tatis to me is the, I think Jackson Merrill is going to, he's this learning curve that he's on, and I think he's over trying to help the team now, swinging at more pitches. He's going to, and again, we saw that little glimpse of a breakout of the slump, and unfortunately, then we go into the All-Star break. But for me, if Tatis has a second half like Manny had as a first half, and Manny can have a second half like he had for the first half, and Gavin Sheets continues to be Gavin Sheets, and we know Luis Ariz is going to kind of get back near 300, and Jackson Merrill will be sort of up and down, and Bogey's going to hit 260, and Crony's going to hit 250, and we get a couple pieces. This, if Tatis is Tatis, this team moves.
I think you hit on the three that to me are absolutely one of the three is the right answer. Like Ariz, I'd love him to hit 380 in the second half. I don't think it makes as huge of a difference. Jackson Merrill was such a key engine last year. And if he goes back to being Jackson Merrill, that was very tempting. Dylan Cease has about 12 or 13 starts, if he's healthy, left this season. If he pitches like Dylan Cease, you could see him going 9-2 with a 2 ERA over those starts. He's done that.
He has that
Cy Young type stuff in him if he has a good half. If he does that, the Padres make the playoffs, I think, for sure, with Dylan Cease pitching like he does.
Because with these hypotheticals, like Matty, we do this every once in a while. You're always saying, and then I'll take my chances with all the other players that they'll just do what we expect them to do. Like, I don't know that Manny is a good pick for hypotheticals like this, because he's so consistent that you're like, I know what I'm getting.
To Manny that we don't need to wave our magic wand.
100%. Toddy's the one, though, that he's always the game changer, because he has such ridiculous potential. The ceiling is so high. You're like, he really could single-handedly carry a team,
which is 50 and 50 home runs.
Which is why, as tempted as I am, and was almost certainly going to pick Dylan Cease as my guy, I think, Matty, you got it right. If you wave your magic wand and Fernando Tatis Jr. has an MVP second half of the season, which he is capable of having.
We're talking like 25 bombs.
I was looking at, I think it was Mike Petriello did his first half NL MVPs. Obviously, it was, Shohei Ohtani was right up there, and then it was PCA, I think was 2.
I didn't see the list. I guess
he had Fernando still
there
at number 3. As mediocre, as bad as Fernando was for like 2 months, he was still like the number 3 candidate for MVP.
That's weird.
If Fernando plays like the MVP that he can be, I just think the Padres are almost unstoppable when he does. When he is like that, they have enough around him that if you have a Fernando MVP in your lineup, you don't need a lot else. You really don't. It hides so many of your other weaknesses to have Fernando going up there and just mashing and hitting for average and stealing bases and hitting home runs and playing platinum glove level defense. He is, by the way. He is playing such good defense this year. His outs above average, his range factor in right field. It's nuts how much better he is than essentially every other outfielder in baseball right now.
And you already answered your own question. The Dylan Cease situation, in which he only potentially gets another 12 starts or whatever. You're talking about Fernando Tatis very reasonably could hit 350, 20 to 25 home runs, and over 50 RBIs in the second half of the season, and steal 15 bases and catch multiple balls going over the field. And he plays every day. So it's not even his ceiling is a ceiling that only is discussed amongst 3 to 5 players in baseball. So to him to be up on his ceiling is the biggest high side, and why he's Fernando Tatis. I mean, just be Tatis.
Yeah, and you heard the we talked about some of the quotes with the admiration that like his fellow ball players have for his unbelievable talent.
So go do it.
And they respect Tatis's craft as well. He cares about the game. I know you see his body language sometime, and you wonder about Fernando Tatis Jr. His body language is bad because he cares. It's not bad because he doesn't care. It's bad because he does and gets frustrated with himself. Maybe you'd like him to be a little more manny and level, which is fine, but he absolutely cares. He wants to do well. He wants his team to do well. It's a credit to Fernando Tatis Jr. And I think, if he does that, the Padres will be a force to handle in the second half of the season.
Without question, there is no debate.
I mean, there's a little debate. We just debated for a few minutes.
But I just
we had a good 15-minute debate.
I think, like I said, I think we actually answered. I think you answered your own question with the. First of all, Dylan Cease hasn't been anything close to being.
Which is why I picked him.
Revolution.
That's why I picked him to wave the magic wand and get back to that Cease style. Like Blake Snell was another guy that we would always wave that magic wand because you knew the stuff was nasty when he's locked in. It was just such an excruciating watch. I guess based on how things have gone this year, I think it's more likely that Fernando gets back to being Fernando on his own without the magic wand than Cease gets back to being Dylan Cease without the magic wand, which is why I gave it to Cease.
Yeah, this pitching Fernando inside isn't going to go away, and they just keep throwing him inside. He keeps getting hit. I don't know how this sorts itself out, and how a hitter deals with something in which they are just throwing him inside, and either he can't hit it or they'll hit him.
All he needs to do is turn on a couple of those, hit him 470 feet, and pitchers won't want to throw
that's
inside
what Barry Bonds.
That's
what Barry Bonds said. But I don't know where it goes.
They'll
but
go back
I would get rid of. I would put Cease in trades. I would consider Suarez in trades. I think the second he's already showing glimpses of what he did the second half of last season. Whether he gets tired or what, I think you can get something for him. I think we got to make some moves.
All right, we will take a quick timeout. We still have Paulie's Reindl Report coming up. Plus, giveaways. Rick Springfield tickets to his show coming up to Front Wave Arena. We'll do that in our next segment as well. Don't go away. Ben Woods continuing here on a Thursday on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. There is also no debate when it comes to the best way to lose weight, lose it fast, and lose it without the injections or the bars or shakes and mixes that you have to rely on other plans. It is sdfatloss.com. It's how I lost my weight. Maddie remembers what I looked like a couple of years ago. Look much better now, thanks to the
looking good.
Thank you. 40 pounds lost in 60 days, and I've kept that weight off just by following the strategies and techniques doctor developed, and then your counselor, your coach is going to help you at sdfatloss.com. Lose the weight and then keep it off, and you can do it during the summer. I did mine. Weight loss during the summer, despite all the barbecues and vacations and stuff. They can help you navigate the travel schedule, having to go eat out. You can eat at restaurants. You're eating real food. So it's absolutely possible to do this during the summer. And then you feel great. By the time September gets here, it's still hot. You're still enjoying yourself, but you feel and you look better than you ever have. Sign up right now. Get a free consultation by going to sdfatloss.com. They'll explain how the program works, how it can work for you. And if you do it today, get $200 off here in the month of June during the summer special. You really have no reason not to do this at any point. You've been putting it off. Make the call. Make the visit to the website at sdfatloss.com. That's sdfatloss.com. Results may vary.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the players' place.
Did either of you actually watch the MLB draft? Did anyone actually watch the MLB draft? I did not. I did not watch it. I followed online. Padres coming up here, and just wait for like AJ Cassavell or Dennis Lin to tell me who they picked.
If you follow the right people or set up the right notifications on your phone, you can something like that. You can get away without watching it and still get all of the information you need.
But we still watch, the NFL draft is kind of an event, and the NBA draft is still kind of an event where you see the guy come up on stage and shakes the commissioner's hand, gets his jersey, then they do the interview cavalcade. And I didn't watch the MLB draft, so I didn't realize this, but Adam sent me this story that Alden Gonzalez wrote this morning for ESPN.com. And I did not know this. So they did obviously televise the draft on MLB Network, and they had the green room, the area for all the draft picks, to go up and shake Rob Manfred's hand, when the announcement was made, and do the interviews.
Isn't that funny? Real quick, like you can imagine, you can see it in your head. Like if you see Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, like you feel like you see them walking across the stage, holding the jersey with Roger Goodell, or maybe it's Wemby and Adam Silver in the NBA. Like, does anybody ever remember seeing Manny Machado and Rob Manfred when he got drafted? Bryce Harper, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a thing in baseball.
Well, it's so not a thing that they set it up. They had the couches. They had everyone ready. Not a single player showed up.
No way.
At all.
Wow.
So they never really,
Damn.
I guess they never really showed it, but apparently all the agents and stuff, they recommended against it. And there were a couple that said, oh, I'll go, like, high schoolers. Oh, I'll show up. They didn't want like two guys sitting there to be drafted like 17th and 38th. And that was all they were going to have for their coverage. So they just didn't have anything. I don't know that the MLB draft, I don't think there's any way. And that was kind of Alden's argument as well. There's really no way to fix it. You don't have any recognizable faces. For football, you've got, the quarterback at Alabama or, the Heisman Trophy winner. You've got people who are already famous. Basketball certainly has some stars. They're starting to go more the way of baseball, though, with freshmen, one-and-done freshmen and European stars that we've never seen play. This year, I would say almost 2/3 of the guys drafted. I go, I have no idea who these guys are.
Well, and the prognosticators don't have a ton of sense of who did people think Cruz Schoolcraft was going to go? Like, you're going to have all that,
it's much more unpredictable, and there just are only a handful of names, and maybe it's one every couple of years. Paul Skeens, okay. Yeah, we were interested in seeing Paul Skeens, and after that, I don't know who went second after Paul Skeens. No one knows. No one's ever going to remember.
No. And I think Dub J nailed it. He said because they go right to the pros in the NFL and the NBA. You are expecting first round draft picks. If you watch the NFL draft in April or the NBA draft even in June, like you're expecting those guys to make an impact on whatever team you're following, like the very next season. Baseball, it is the polar opposite. I mean, the Paul Skeens, they're once every 10 years. It's Steven Strasburg, it's Paul Skeens. Like, it just doesn't happen. Maybe that changes over time here. I don't know. But as of right now, it's like, it's a little bit tough.
And you can argue that the international signing period is at least as important as the draft and even more anonymous in terms of who comes in. You have no idea who these guys are. I remember when the Padres spent all that money. I mean, they went big. It was like $70 million on that international signing period a decade ago. And you didn't know who any of these guys were. And most of them were ended up being complete flameouts. But they did invest like $11 million in a left-handed pitcher named Adrian Morejon. And seemed like for many years that was going to be a very unwise investment. But finally, that investment has paid off big time this year with Adrian Morejon in the bullpen making his first All-Star game.
I tell you what I'd watch, which might already exist, but a real true breakdown of the draft after it happens, only because now I'm back through my son, 8-year-old son, who's fallen in love with baseball and fallen in love with collecting baseball cards. A good breakdown of who got drafted, why they got drafted, where they got drafted, what their strengths are, and what the prognosticators predict for them would be helpful in terms of baseball cards.
Yeah, I mean we've been spoiled now. I mean, you're one of the people who have kind of done it with the production work that you do, but following along shows like Quarterback and the reality television version of it. And investing in they make you invest in the player. You may not know them, but once you start watching them, you become invested, and then you care about where they get drafted. We're not invested in any high school baseball players or even college baseball players.
Well, we are now. I mean, what was it about Cruz Schoolcraft that made him worthy of 25? I would love to understand
his name. Obviously,
let's start there. His size. He's a hitter and a pitcher, but I mean, I would love to hear from AJ and or the group of scouts who got together to say this is our guy and a good understanding.
Well, I'm glad you would like to hear from AJ and his group of scouts, because joining us tomorrow on Friar Friday will be Chris Kemp.
That's what I'm talking
who's going to join us. Who was in charge of he's AJ's draft guy, director of what's his official title? Do you know what Chris Kemp's official title?
His official title.
I like to think of him as Tier 1 Chris Kemp.
Right.
Cool guy, enjoys the show, and he is AJ's draft guy. He's right there with AJ making the big decisions on draft day. He will tell us about Cruz Schoolcraft, some of the other picks, and the strategy, signing all those guys, and he will join us tomorrow.
Director of International Scouting, I think is what he's currently.
He's in charge of the draft.
The team that AJ. By the way, I understand that not only has AJ got an incredible team around him, but he knows every single member of his team. Like his ability, I think, when they signed Jackson Merrill to name all the different people that went into the scouting,
Every
and
scout that had ever seen him
and
play.
he just rattled them. I was like, this is why we believe in and trust AJ Preller. I mean, this is not just a figurehead. I love it.
All right, before we get to the Reindl Report, it is time to give away those tickets. We got 2 more tickets for Rick Springfield. I Want My 80s Tour at Front Wave Arena in Oceanside on August 3rd. Let's do the fourth caller right now at 833-288-0973. Fourth caller wins tickets to Rick Springfield at Front Wave Arena. You can get your own tickets now at AXS.com. We'll come back. Paulie, what do you have for us in the Reindl Report?
I've got a gnarly scenario of getting caught on camera, and the whole world has now seen it.
Caught with someone you're not supposed to be with.
Yeah,
that's called being caught.
Somebody high up is in a little bit of trouble this morning.
And was in the cookie jar.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
All right, that's coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the players' place.
For you from the British Isles. One Guinness consumed by Stephen Woods. Just got a picture of him. He has made it to a pub in Manchester. And look at that. Looks like a good pour of his first Guinness in a nice old pub somewhere in Manchester.
I'm so excited for him to have some fun this weekend.
Not too much fun, though. We want him back next Tuesday.
Well, I mean,
I want a
yes.
Guinness.
You want a Guinness?
Yeah, I want
you've
a Guinness.
you've consumed.
I only drink Guinness in Ireland, though, to be honest with you.
So is it really? I mean, Woods was talking about this. That the story I've never been. So the stories are it's just much better there for some reason.
Yeah, it's a lot of reasons, but it's the temperature and then the lines. Guinness, takes it upon that they have people that go out and serve the pubs and clean the lines and make sure that what you're getting.
I know good establishments, in fact, here in San Diego, that clean their lines and care about how the Guinness tastes. They got an on tap nitro on tap, so you get the little tiny bubbles, and it's very delicious. I just don't know for a fact that it's better.
No, it's not
in Ireland.
The way it travels over here, too far to go. I mean, it's right from the. I've
it's mother's
spent
milk.
It's mother's milk, and I've spent a lot of time in Ireland. I've done this perfect pint tour. These guys have become friends of mine. If you're ever in Dublin, do the perfect pint tour. They've sampled 500 plus pubs, and John Kavanagh's Gravediggers is the #1 pub in Ireland. And I'm not the only one who thinks so. And you learn a lot about how and why the pour. It's also just the way they clean the glasses. It's how long they keep the glasses that they pour it in. Like there's a lot that goes into a perfect pint. And in Ireland, they know that they know what they're doing, and especially at Gravediggers.
I will say that everyone has especially golfers have their golf bucket list. I can't imagine there's much left on yours, Maddie. I mean, Maddie's played Augusta National.
Yeah.
Maddie's played. You played Pine Valley.
Yeah.
I mean, Maddie, is there anything left on the bucket list of golf for Matt Ginella?
Crystal Downs in Michigan is one that I'd like to play. I've been very fortunate to feel like
Royal Melbourne.
I've played it.
See, I mean,
yeah.
You could take the list of top 100 courses in the world, and you probably, maybe as much as anyone in the world, has hit that list, which is incredible to me.
I've been invited, but haven't been able to say yes to Shinnecock is one it's on my list.
Cyprus,
of
course.
Yeah. NorCal guy. Yeah, beautiful.
Okay, I'm back to
amazing.
being jealous of that, Ginella.
Old Course St. Andrews is my number one though. Just don't drink the Guinness in Scotland. You got to go over to Ireland.
As I was going to say, I got my bucket list, but unlike most people, I'd actually, if I go over there, I'd rather go to Ireland than Scotland.
Oh, without question.
Yeah,
I mean, the people of Ireland are very happy to be Irish. They are and they celebrate with you. They're going to make the golf is comparable. I mean, obviously Old Course separates itself, but the golf is comparable. There is nothing like the Irish, and they make sure they give you that warm welcome. There's songs in the pubs. They reestablished their republic. They're celebrating. I mean, I love the Irish. I love the fact that the Irish love being Irish.
And ultimately, I'm a Higgins. So
yeah, I'm a Clare man too. I got Bolin. I've tracked down my family lineage. I found the land that my great grandfather used to farm. I found the old, I walked out there and saw the rubble that was the house he used to live in. There will be one day I take a one-way flight to Ireland.
And he doesn't come back.
Yeah.
All right, we got a few minutes left. Paulie's going to get to the Reindl Report headlines right after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danek.
Guys, wrapping up our morning drive with a few problems here. Now, looks like we've got a possible encampment fire. Southbound 805, East 54, connector smoke visible from the right shoulder. And going to find on northbound 805 near Imperial, an accident that's been cleared out of lanes. South 5 coastline near Tamarack, collision involving a couple vehicles, clearing that out of the slow lane. Accident has finally cleared from the Nordall Road off-ramp, eastbound 78. Another accident cleared near the 15. I'm Kelly Danek with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report.
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
On 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah?
All right.
All right.
Let's
It's
get
Happy
right to it.
Thursday. Yeah, let's dive right into it here. Got time for a couple of stories from you. Earlier in the week, we were talking about the media, the presentation of the All-Star game, and we had a lot of thoughts on Pat McAfee, who was out there at the Home Run Derby. And when you're one of the highest paid guys on ESPN, if it's an ESPN broadcast, even if it's baseball, they're going to say, let's throw the football guy. I think Fox Sports is trying to at least emulate the ESPN model. Whether you like it or not is besides the point, because Fox Sports this week cut a lot of employees, they cut a lot of shows, and they're changing their programming. I think Joy Taylor is probably the most notable name that was cut from Fox Sports, and it's looking like Fox Sports is on the verge of signing a deal with Barstool Sports.
Portnoy confirmed it today.
Portnoy did confirm.
They are teaming up
It's
for
done.
content on FS1.
Don't have
and
the particulars
their
in
big
front of
new
me.
kickoff show on college football Saturdays.
Yeah, Fox Sports now wants to make Dave Portnoy essentially the Fox version of ESPN's Pat McAfee. You're going to see him on their big noon kickoff, which is their counter programming to College Game Day. You're going to see some of the Barstool programming that they run on their networks will be filtered into Fox Sports if you watch FS1 or anything like that. I'm curious what your thoughts are on seeing more Dave Portnoy on college football Saturdays.
Like McAfee, obviously very polarizing. Now, Matty, you introduced me to Riggs from Barstool. Good guy. I enjoyed meeting him. Do you know Portnoy?
I've never met
Met
Dave.
him.
I will say Riggs is a good friend of mine and goes on our annual buddies trip, and I like Riggs a lot. He's not only been he's good to me and my wife and family. He's a big-hearted guy, and he I think Riggs was employee number 3 or 4 at Barstool, and he swears by Dave. Dave is polarizing. I think that's part of, what he is and how he is. But according to Riggs, he likes him, likes working for him and with him.
By the way, how many people need to, get maimed or pass away before I rise to the level of the annual buddies trip? Just wondering how far down the list I am.
It's a list. There's only 24 guys, and most of those guys have been coming for over 10 years. It's going to be.
Is there a waiting list?
There's a list. It's very awkward. I was hoping you wouldn't bring this up on live radio.
Of course,
Ben.
that's what Woods has taught me. The best place to bring it up is on live radio.
I could see you and Woodsy making the Uncle Tony Invitational at some point.
No, I've been very respectful. I haven't said it. I've known you for like 3 years now. I haven't said a thing. It's like, all right, our relationship is starting to progress a little bit. I just wanted to check in.
I love you. You're my guy.
No, I didn't expect it. I just wanted to see if it was maybe possible at some point in the future.
This is not yet. It's not a no.
I'll keep
it's
working.
Just a not yet.
I'll keep working, and I will not ask you again. Don't worry.
All right, pretty gnarly scene happened overnight. Last night I think this was in Foxborough, Coldplay was having a concert, and don't listen to Coldplay. I've never been to a Coldplay concert, so I don't know if this is something they always do, but you've seen videos over the years of like kiss cam footage, and they show a couple in the crowd, and there's like an awkward, like kind of backing away, like, I don't want to be seen with this person. Or I've seen one where like, oh, kiss, and the guy's like, no, it's my sister. Had a bizarre scene overnight. I actually saw the video and didn't really think twice about it until I saw the internet, the sleuthing that went on. So at the Coldplay concert, they showed a couple in like a kiss cam style, and they both people in the shot immediately see that they're on the jumbo screen and duck out of the camera's view, turn their heads. They are trying to avoid being seen. I'm showing it here on our YouTube stream if you're watching. It was pretty awkward. And then the internet found out that the man in this scene here is none other than tech CEO for the company Astronomer Andy Byron. Only problem is that was definitely not his wife. In fact, that was the CPO, the Chief People Officer, Kristen Cabot, his coworker, and definitely not his wife. The internet found that out pretty quickly and was able to put the pieces together. It's also come out that may have been in a suite with other employees, other high-ranking officials of Astronomer. So he had no problem showing up to the work event.
That's disturbing. Yeah, I mean,
with this woman, and he's got his arms around her, and they were dancing, and you don't know what else because they got out of the camera shot pretty quickly. But needless to say, Byron has a lot of questions to answer this morning, and I'm guessing his wife may have the first questions for him.
I mean, the reaction tells you everything you need to know about that story. No one reacts like that.
He was not hoping to be seen on camera.
They know they shouldn't be doing. That's the guiltiest look that I think I've maybe ever seen on camera.
He just drops to the ground to avoid being seen on camera.
It is too late.
It's been viewed by millions of people now around the world on social media. And he's going to be in trouble for that one.
It's done.
He's toast, right?
Yeah, he's done.
He's toast.
That's she's lawyering up. She already has. It's over.
Like there's nothing you can say. That is a bad look.
The reality is that you're always on camera everywhere at this point. It's just a matter of how many people do or don't see it. But everything's on camera.
That relationship was already done for that to have unfolded like that. That wow.
Not good.
Wow.
I mean, Matty has to live his life on camera. On Bravo.
You're on camera every day.
I am on camera every day. We're on camera right now. Everybody's watching us right now. So don't do anything you would be embarrassed about.
Don't do this.
And end up on DDT or the Reindl Report.
Never know.
And I think that's about all the time we have. Thank you,
minute
Paulie.
Left.
Appreciate it. I want to thank Matt Ginella for coming in studio. Did it live up to your unreasonably high expectations of what this was coming into it?
First of all, Thank you for having me. I want to. It is, like I said, an honor to sit in Woodsy's seat. You know what I think of you guys, this show in general, this station, the Padres. I'm listening to this all the time on the Odyssey app, actually, and go back and listen to different segments. I love how it gets all pieced out. So this was a real treat, and again, thank you for having me. I can't say that it's necessarily an auto reciprocation to the invite for the Uncle Tony
Right,
Invitational. I'm sorry, Ben, but I do appreciate the
You have
opportunity.
no idea how patient I am. Paulie will tell you. I will wait
Most
quietly.
patient man I've ever met.
I will wait quietly for years until my comes up. But Maddie, thank you for coming
This
in.
is a blast. The
Go
only thing I have
Padres.
to say
Go
is
Padres.
come back and do this again when Woodsy's
Yes.
here, okay? We got
love
room.
that.
He would
I
love
would
some
love
of these
it.
conversations
Yes.
as well. For everybody else, Paulie and I are heading over to the Sound Space. It is a Roundtable Thursday. We'll do a first half recap and look ahead to the second half of the Padres season, commercial free. And then we'll be back tomorrow with a Friar Friday. Chris Kemp joining us. And, of course, Woodsy will be back next week with stories from Manchester, England. For Matt Ginella, Paul Reindl, I'm Ben Higgins. Thanks for joining us on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So long, everybody.